What's going on, guys? Back on the Winning Browns podcast after a near 2 months. This is what now,
Please
episode
don't blame
11,
us.
I
Please
think,
don't
right?
blame us. It's been a rough 2 months. It's a
It's
lot
been
of
a rough 2 months, man.
yeah.
College apps and student
Finals.
life, high school life, trying to get
Yeah.
to, you know,
I think
um,
second semester we're going to be much more free now because like everything's done. Now you're just waiting for the results. So it's a lot more tension than it is work. But I think we're going to be much more available second semester. Look again.
think
Look, we
of think of think
apologize.
of the think of this last semester for us as far as students being like the first 3 quarters of like a really defensive struggle game. It's just a bunch of like nothingness to like the casual fan, right? To a cat
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe for like Akilesh and I, it might there might be a little more art to the defense or whatnot.
hmm
But for
To
a
most people,
casual
it's just
fan, you
like,
look at this game and say,
man,
"Oh my God, this is
it's
so
three
horrible."
six. Yeah, like it's just
Exactly.
not those games that you're really interested in if
But
you're
then you
not a
get to the
defensive
fourth
fanatic.
quarter and it's just drama. And that's what this next semester is. But that's where the
Yeah.
special moments happen. And that's where we're going to be able to better connect with our
That
audience
may be your
now.
best analogy yet. You know what? I'm gonna give a big round of applause for that. Hey, video editing section, we're just gonna put like a big round of applause right there for my man Yash. That was a wonderful, wonderful analogy. I will give props to that. Now I'm gonna get straight in. A lot of stuff has happened. Um, a lot of crazy stuff has happened actually. I'm gonna just address it right here. I have to address it. It's kind of compulsory that I have to address it. Yeah, I'm not a Chargers fan anymore. Okay, look. Let me explain. Let me explain. The only reason why I was a Chargers fan was because Brandon Staley was the head coach, and he's not there anymore. Um, Overall, I will give. I'm gonna give a little bit of take some time on this specifically, and then we can move on to other topics as well. But in this case, I feel Brandon Staley's firing for the team. I think as a whole, it was needed. Okay, and I'm gonna be honest because I'm a fan of his, so I will be honest. In terms of the scheme itself, the scheme was actually a very good scheme. How he fit the players into the scheme was where it went wrong. Me and Yash have spoken about this a lot. I think one of the main problems was the safeties, how Derwin James was positioned to be playing, where I thought he should have been a strong safety. He played more free safety. That was part of the problem. But I think as a leader, he was great. I think as a person who could control the locker room, I know there was a whole Joey Bosa stint, but even now, you can see Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Austin Eckler, who publicly say, I wish he was here. They publicly have said that. I wish he was still here. So that just goes to show what a leader he was. Now, another thing with the Chargers was this. It's something that I related to for India's World Cup. They have to execute when it most matters. And unfortunately, the Chargers couldn't do that. If you guys remember, I mean, the game that everybody's going to remember is the Raiders game, but the last time they got blown out like that before the Raiders game was against Baltimore in Staley's first season as a head coach. That just goes to show how hard this team fought, how they were always this close. And another thing we have to remember, this team always you have to recognize the fact that they were always this close when winning and were always this close to losing. They were always a very close team. Against the Browns, they got a field goal kick last year that got them the game win. Against this year, I mean, really, if you look at this team should have been 7-8 right now. Quentin Johnson dropped two catches that could have been game-winning drive catches. We have to remember that, right? So a lot of the things, it was an unlucky factor. Mike Williams being out, yes, all that is there, but his firing was needed for the Chargers as a team to advance. So in that regard, yes, I do feel bad. I feel kind of heartbroken when I saw it, but it was needed at that point in time. So I'm just going to end the topic there. Now, the topic I do want to get to is this, and I think this is needed to be said. Earlier in the week, last week, it was me and Yash were having a conversation after our first day of our first final, if I'm not wrong. And Yash came up to me and, in a sarcastic tone, when are you going to apologize about Brock Purdy? And I said, look, okay, look, the, the,
Wow,
the,
this has
the deal
ended
is no, no,
well
no,
after
no,
my
no, no,
five
no, 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 no.
interceptions.
Hey, don't twist it now. Don't twist it
Yeah,
now.
no, I'm not twisting anyway. I'm just saying you picked the
I'm,
perfect time, didn't you? You picked the
I,
perfect time to
I'm
talk
just
about this.
so what I said was, look. Brock Purdy is a good quarterback to great quarterback when he has the pieces he needs. When he doesn't, he's a flustered quarterback that doesn't know what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I was wrong. Because this weekend he had everything he needed, but he got bamboozled. Credit to the Baltimore Ravens defense, which has been showing out the last, I would say, 3 weeks more than they had the entire season. But we have to recognize the fact that this 49ers team last time was dismantled as an offense. The defense, I mean, the defense got unlucky in a lot of situations. Okay, I will give that, but they were bamboozled on offense. I mean, to the extent Brock Purdy, yes, he was benched for Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold played pretty well. If I don't say so myself. Part of the problem was Kyle Shanahan's play calling. I do feel that they should have run the ball a lot more because CMC was averaging what 8 yards a carry, and then they gave it to him a couple of times here and there. I felt personally, but what are we saying about Brock Purdy now? Because he's definitely not MVP this season. That's over for me.
Yeah.
That's that he's gone. That's not a possibility. But after last game, I think I've come to for the first time in my life as a pure NFL fan, which has only been 5 years. I don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl. I cannot give a definite answer. I'm not even saying there's a 60% chance someone's winning the Super Bowl. I'm saying there's less than a 40% chance for every single big team winning the Super Bowl. Because I don't know. The
Mm,
Eagles were dominant, and then they had 3 straight games where they lost. The Dallas Cowboys are good, but then you never know when they're gonna flop. And personally, I hope they always flop. And then the Miami Dolphins, who are, I remember saying this, great offense, but I don't know about later in the season, and they are showing that they're not the same offense that they started off with.
right. And
Then you look,
their defense has had a complete change of story from being
yeah,
one of the
that's true.
worst defenses in football. Now they're top four in yards allowed.
That is no, I'll give them credit there. And then you have the Kansas City Chiefs, who are abysmal, in the receiver side, and
Yeah.
they don't know what they're doing right now. And I'm surprised beyond belief about the Chiefs. I mean, I get it. The Baltimore Ravens are right now that team, but we've seen it. Baltimore Ravens' good seasons is almost the worst postseason.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just so confused. So I'm just gonna ask the question: Number one, what's wrong with the nine? What's wrong with your Niners? Number two, actually, I'm not gonna say that. Do you think there's possibility that this team can win the Super Bowl based on what you saw last time, with everybody being there, based on what you saw last time against the Ravens? Secondly, who's winning it all?
I Well, I'll answer your second question first.
Hmm.
As far as that, currently, I do not know. Generally, there's some sort of trendsetter that you can tell based on a couple seasons prior or
Yeah.
something like not. Generally, in the last few years, it's been a team that makes a few trades that help them mid-season, a couple moves that might not necessarily be the biggest moves, but they help the team as far as system fit. Sometimes
Sure.
they're huge moves as far as names go, but they're not necessarily like bona fide superstars that you add to the team. The
Yeah,
Rams
yeah, yeah.
probably were the only exception to adding Matthew Stafford before the season began. Uh,
Right.
but Von Miller wasn't like a world beater. He was a very good player. Don't get me wrong that year,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but he
But he
was
wasn't like it shocked the planet or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah, right, right,
exactly. And Odell Beckham Jr., same deal. I like what you saw with the Buccaneers, like each one of those players that they got, Brady, Gronk,
right.
Antonio
Hmm.
Brown, Steve McLendon, they
Those
all
are like big,
fit. Yeah. And
those
Steve
big
McLendon,
names.
I don't think even anybody, I didn't know that he got traded until like 4 weeks after he got traded. I don't think
Right.
most people know who he is, but he was an
Yeah.
outstanding nose tackle for the New York Jets
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the first half of 2020, and he became a key piece.
That
He had, I
Buccaneers
think,
defense.
2 or 3 pressures on Mahomes in that Super Bowl, and that was vital for them to be able to open up spaces for blitzes from Devin White, Levante David, and
Yeah, yeah,
the edge to be able to continuously harass Mahomes all game. And then last year you saw it with Kadarius Toney and
yeah. Hmm.
Marquez Valdez Scantling and Juju. Those additions.
Which they're not doing this year. I don't know what's
Exactly.
up with that, but
So what I'll start with saying is the Niners have definitely made those acquisitions, but and so have the Ravens,
hmm,
which kind of perplexes me. I still think the Niners are well within the race for playoff. One thing I think people just haven't talked about enough. I know PFF can be a little off sometimes with their grades, but the thing that really alarmed me, I was seeing the PFF lineup for the 49ers last week. They have they had 7 guys on their team who had, and that does not include Kyle Juszczyk, who's the best fullback by far in the game. That doesn't include the likes of Deebo Samuel, who's having a now nice bounce back year, who some people are
I like
low
how
on
you
him.
were about to say outstanding and then you went to nuts. I like how
Right.
you went with
Like
that.
I mean, he has been outstanding according to advanced metrics. I wouldn't go as
He's
far
really
as to
not.
say that he's
He's
been elite, but
um
he's been good. He's been
I
very
think what you
solid.
said, it was a nice comeback.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was an
Right.
outstanding comeback by
But
any
then you
measure.
have guys like Mooney Ward has been outstanding. He's been a top 10 quarterback
Yes,
just
yes.
without a doubt this year.
Guaranteed.
You know,
Guaranteed.
Greenlaw continues to play well. Javon Hargrave, who's been great. Chase Young has been great. That does not include players like that. But you're
Yeah.
talking about Brock Purdy, who was a top 5 quarterback graded by PFF. McCaffrey was the best running back according to
Yeah,
PFF.
yeah. Without a
Kittle,
doubt.
best or best tight end across according to PFF.
Hmm.
Ayuk, second highest grade of any receiver
No,
in
no, no.
according to
See,
PFF.
again. I want to say this. You're bringing up PFF stats.
Right, but what I'm
That's all
saying
there.
is you're talking about this entire team being pretty much loaded with superstars.
Then
And
what happened
shout out
against
to
the
my guy,
Ravens? Then what
shout out to
happens?
my right, but
What happened
that's what
against
I'm
the
saying.
Ravens?
So when you have a team that loaded with that many stars, it's incomprehensible for me to sit here and say that that team's completely knocked out of
Well, no, no, no. I'm not
the
saying
Super
they're
Bowl.
completely not. I'm not saying you should
Right,
say
but
they're
so,
completely
what I'm
not.
saying is a lot of people have been because a lot of people now believe that Brock Purdy is just system quarterback. I don't think
Well,
that's the
yeah, yeah,
case,
yeah.
right? I don't, and I still think
You know what? I might agree. See, here's the thing. If those players don't play at least even close to the level that they always play, he's not going to be it. We saw okay, Debo Samuel, if we're being completely honest, did not have a good game at all. He had 3 drops, open drops. That's why
right,
I'm seeing highlights. I didn't even see the full game. I'm seeing highlights. 3 open drops.
correct.
Nice, easy drops. The only player that was 2 players that were outstanding throughout the game was George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey. George Kittle, I'll say why. You know why he was outstanding? Because the Ravens defense literally said we're going to allow him to catch the ball and go. That's
Correct.
what the Ravens
Now let
defense
me
did.
ask you this though: have you seen other quarterbacks with not with great without their great weapons? Have you seen Joe Burrow without Jamar Chase? We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen Justin Herbert. And mind you, I'm not saying that Purdy necessarily
We
is
have
as
seen
good
Justin
as
Herbert.
them.
We have seen Justin
We
Herbert
have
without
not. No, no,
anybody.
no, no. We've seen
Without
Herbert.
anybody.
He struggled. I think Purdy played worse against a team. The Baltimore Ravens have one of the best, if not the best, defense in football, plain and
You
simple.
realize
Right?
Justin Herbert didn't
He
have
struggled
Keenan
also
Allen.
against the Cleveland Browns,
No,
and that's
but
why I'm
no.
sitting here and
See.
saying, okay, I'm not as stressed about this. Now, if this was
Okay,
against, like, say, um, I don't
the
know, maybe
Eagles.
like the Minnesota Vikings. If he played that, and mind you, he
Uh,
didn't play that bad until he got, which we later found out. At the time, we didn't know. He apparently got a concussion half way through the fourth quarter. I don't know if that
mm,
affected him or not, but that definitely could be something that you can consider, right? If
right.
that had been the whole game against the Minnesota Vikings, I would have sat here and probably agreed with you. But I don't. But the 2 games that he truly struggled this year, that
Yeah.
Purdy himself truly struggled,
Hmm.
were against the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Both of
Right.
whom have the best defenses in football, plain and simple. That's not a
Sure.
question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't think
Agree.
like I don't want to sit here and say that any quarterback won't be able to struggle
Mm,
against those 2 defenses unless they have an incredible game
no,
plan,
no, no.
which Kyle
I'll give you
Shanahan
that. No, 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 no.
definitely
See,
didn't.
see. I'll give you that. Any quarterback which would not be able to be the MVP
Right,
level quarterback that they can be against these 2 defenses. I'll give you that.
right,
But with the talent that this 49ers team has on the offense, right? They
right.
should be able to execute 10 times better than what Brock Purdy did.
Right. So
Okay.
that what I'm saying, sitting here and saying is that doesn't necessarily make him a system quarterback. That just to me, it just means that he's a young quarterback who at
Yeah.
times has his struggles, like a guy like Brady. In you compare him a lot to Brady. He had his struggles
Yeah.
against really good defenses at times. He's young.
Right.
He'll
Right.
eventually
But
overcome that.
yeah. But
But
the thing.
it's going to be
Oh,
it.
very
But
very complete.
going back to the original point, I think that definitely is going to hurt our chances as far as what we can do against specific teams in the AFC, maybe even the NFC. Who knows? We'll see as far as how the Cowboys play against us the next time. They're a different team. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
Cowboys,
Yeah.
the Eagles. We'll see how they play down the stretch. They, of course, now have a new defensive play call in Matt Patricia. We'll see if he changes anything from his Patriots days or his Lion days. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
All
I
I'm
don't know.
sitting here and saying is that I don't think the Niners are completely out of the position.
I agree with that. I
They're,
agree with that.
but there are definitely concerns for me, for
So,
Matt.
okay, look, we've gone with that. Now, what I want to do is right now it's around, let's take another 10 minutes, okay? I just want, I'm going to set my standard on who I think in terms of playoffs. Because we have to really, because I remember the beginning of the season, my playoffs is so much more different than what it is right now, right? I'm not going to go through wild card, etc. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to give you straight up who I think is going to be AFC champs and NFC champs. Clear and simple. Right now, to me, the clear AFC champions right now, I would say like for me, 70% confidence I'm putting in this. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be AFC champs. That's what I think. I understand they've never had great success after having a great regular season. I understand that, but this is different. The defense is tenacious. The offense is just
They're
it
physical. They're
bamboozles everybody.
physical as hell, man.
Yeah, I mean you
Roquan
have
Smith and
Odell.
Patrick Queen hit like nobody in the league right now.
It's scary. Because the one thing I saw that I never saw before, the 49ers offensive line couldn't do anything against the blitzes. I mean, we've seen like Jaguars blitz a lot. You look at other teams, they blitz. But we never saw Brock Purdy under actual pressure.
Yeah.
This was the first time I saw him after a long time under actual pressure. So it was very surprising. But maybe blitzing is the way to go against the offense that they have. Because if you really think about it, they don't have the best interior blocking. They have good outside blocking, but interior blocking they can't do anything. So with Patrick Quinn
Their
coming
only
inside,
good performer is John Feliciano, who, by the way, Shadow was my former neighbor. Actually, yes, next door neighbor.
really
Yes,
serious.
yes.
Wow.
But
Okay.
other than that, I mean, Aaron Banks, Spencer Burford. Burford's been hurt all year, and then Aaron Banks has
Yeah.
just been terrible.
So that's a problem they have. But I'm gonna take Baltimore Ravens as AFC champs. For the NFC champs, this is where I don't know where to go. See, I could for me, there's three clear options for me right now, and it's probably predictable. It's either the the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, or the San Francisco 49ers. I really can't think of any other
Not the
NFC team.
Detroit Lions.
See, here's the thing. I know the Lions are good. I'm just I'm just not sure in terms of playoffs. I'm just not sure in terms of playoffs if they can do what they've been doing all because they're
Maybe,
very
but I still feel like they should at least be in the hunt. If you're putting them in the, you
no no
can't,
no.
you
Wait,
like,
wait,
they
okay,
should
you
be in
know
the
what?
same
Fine,
conversation as
fine.
Dallas and Philadelphia.
Maybe the Lions add in. Actually, you know what? Yeah, the Lions probably for me the Lions could push out the Eagles, honestly. But if those four teams, right?
You're right.
Lions, I'm not sure they're gonna make the Super Bowl in their first winning season after like
Me neither. Yeah, I
100
agree with
years.
you there.
But I honestly think that this is where I don't know. This is where I actually even with statistical facts, there can be as many things. The Dallas Cowboys defense has not been the same defense it has been the past 2 years. You know, it's been much worse. Personally, they have not had consistency in any regard. But then their offense, all of a sudden, Dak Prescott's playing like a top 10 quarterback
Yeah,
or a top five quarterback if you even want to go to that extent.
yeah.
Then you have Jalen Hurts, who is just not even close to what he was last season, but he always gets the team to execute most of the time. And then their defense obviously has just been really distraught. San Francisco 49ers, we mentioned glaring concerns. The Lions, you can't really trust them. But you know what? I'm going to take the
Hmm.
San Francisco 49ers. I think the San Francisco 49ers is, yeah, I'll take the 49ers.
You're predicting the conspiracy theory of the Super Bowl logo colors to come true,
Yeah.
like
No, no,
everyone.
no, no. I'm serious, bro. I think if the Baltimore and then if that happens, I'm gonna shock you with this. If that happens, the 49ers will win the Super Bowl. That I will give a 90% guarantee. Because see, here's the thing. I don't care how good the Ravens defense is. If I know Kyle Shanahan, he loses once, he won't lose again. He won't.
Mhm.
That's just who he is. He will not lose again. That's to the Harbaugh, I don't think he would do it. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I'll sit here and agree with you based on what I've seen as far as like what happened to the Buccaneers. Um, 3 years ago against the Kansas City Chiefs, where they lost. They got shellacked by the Chiefs offense the first time, and then they came back. And granted, there were a few things that happened during that time. The Chiefs lost both offensive tackles. I'll agree with you there. But as far as my playoff predictions, I'm gonna give 7 teams for each, just real quick, because I want to be able to shine some light and kind of sing my praises a little bit about some of the teams that we haven't talked about that much this year. I'm gonna give the Baltimore Ravens as my number 1 seed, the Dolphins to Kansas City Chiefs. I still think they're going to hold out, especially after what happened with the Denver
Three, three,
number 3 seed.
three.
Yeah, number 3.
Dude,
Based
they
on the way the
lost
Chiefs have been,
against the Raiders. The
they lost
Raiders
against
without Josh Jacobs.
because okay, but let me ask you this:
With
the
Devontae Adams
number
having 7
4 seed is going to be
yards.
the AFC South champion, who's 8-7. That those 3 teams have been losing nonstop these last 3 games. Who do you expect to come out? They're going to be basically killing each other. They're basically going to be killing each other over the next 2 weeks.
But
So there,
dude,
you really don't have a
man,
shot with
they're
that,
nine. The Chiefs are 9-6.
right? But who? Let me ask you this: who do you think is gonna beat them? One, the Chiefs have a favorite, like have a what's it called? What's the word?
That's
They
true.
have a
Yeah. You know what?
advantage
No, no, no.
over any of the AFC
I agree.
South.
I agree.
That's
I
why
agree. I
I'm just
agree.
saying by default, even if you don't think that
Sure.
they're better than whoever comes out of the AFC South, they're gonna get that number 3 seed by default.
Yeah.
Especially now that the Broncos
Mm.
they benched Russell Wilson, which that was a very interesting move in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm not sure how that's gonna work out, but I actually feel it'll be better. I called it since the beginning of the season, but let's see.
I don't know because Russell Wilson's been playing well. I mean, I've seen some of the
No,
deep balls he's
no,
been playing,
no,
but
no,
you never
no.
know. I mean,
He's not. It's not Russell Wilson at his best. It's Russell
yeah,
Wilson
it's
getting
not
lucky.
Russell Wilson his
That's it.
best. I agree with you there. He's not, but he's been playing well. I mean, he's been much improved from last year on his deep ball ability,
Okay,
his deep
fine.
ball
Yeah,
accuracy, his playmaking ability, but he's not consistent. I'll give you that.
yeah, yeah.
But it's still an interesting move because it's a huge downgrade from him to Jarrett Stidham. But then again, Jarrett Stidham did
I
this
think
last
Stidham.
year too.
I think under Sean Payton, Stidham is the quarterback.
You never know. That's going to be an interesting move, regardless. But
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
AFC South, this is the one I'm definitely most perplexed about. I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts, believe it or not. Um,
Thank
they have
you.
impressed
Thank
the
you.
hell out of me this year, and
What did I
credit to
say?
Shane
What did I
Steichen,
say?
you were definitely right about that.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Um, Gardner
Appreciate it.
Minshew is been all right, but I think he's one of those quarterbacks that can do just enough to win you the necessary games, kind of like what Nick Foles did down the stretch for the Eagles in 2018. And then their defense, they've been solid, they've been silently underrated, and then they have enough weapons to fit that system for Steichen, and I think they have a favorable schedule down the stretch. So I'm going to go with the
Yeah.
Indianapolis Colts as my number 4 seed. And then as far as my 5, 6, and 7 seed, the Browns, I think, have pretty much locked in that number 5 playoff spot for me. Joe
Yeah.
Flacco has been the best quarterback, believe it or not, after, not
I'm telling you,
playing the
man.
entirety of the year. That defense
He's
is still historic level. I mean, they're on pace to have less yards allowed than I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 85, no, not the 85 Bears. Yeah, the 85 Bears. And I think
which
less than
is
2000 Ravens too. So like, I mean, this is an insanely good defense. And I'm not saying they're better than either of those, but they have been dominant, no doubt, and they deserve their credit. And I don't think enough people talk about them. And then as my 6 and 7 seed, I don't think any team from the AFC West is going to get it. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to get that number 6 seed. They've
me
been
too.
playing really good down the stretch. They've been red hot. Josh Allen's just finally starting to figure out things as far as cutting down a little turn on those turnovers every now and then. Their defense starting to pick up a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think this Buffalo Bills team, they're going to lock in that number 6 seed. And then I think as far as the number 7 seed, I'm going to go with Jacksonville. That's a tough one. It's a bit of a throw in, but I think that when you have a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, I think that's what I'm going to rely on between those 3 teams that for me are in question: the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Houston Texans, maybe even throw in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't rely on any of the quarterbacks enough compared to Trevor Lawrence. For that reason, I'm
No.
going to go with the
No.
Jaguars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll completely agree. Completely agree on that.
And then on the NFC side, you got the Niners. I don't really need to talk about the NFC champion. They're pretty well set in stone. I'm gonna go the Niners. The Lions are my number 1 seed. I still think they have favor as far as the schedule goes. The
Sure.
Lions are my 3 seed. I think the Buccaneers are gonna win. Are going to win, as we call it, tank division, the NFC South. Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield is having that redemption. Not the greatest
Not.
quarterback, but he's
Yeah,
playing
but
solid.
he's playing good enough.
Yes,
I'll say
there you
that.
go.
I'm
And
not
that
saying he was
defense
like,
is good. Mike Evans is as good as ever, still incredibly underrated.
dude, like
Um,
seven straight, what, 1,000 yard seasons?
yeah. And then as far as my 6 and 7 seed, I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Rams as my number 6 seed. And I'm gonna go with the Green Bay Packers as my 7 seed.
Whoa.
Yes. I think that this
Come
team on
wait.
paper,
Hey, okay, now we're gonna have a problem. No, not the look. No, no, I'm not doing this. No, the look. I'm not saying it's the worst thing, but like, I think the Vikings can do it, man.
I don't think so. I mean,
Look,
they have such
dude,
a huge problem
look
right
at
now at
how the
quarterback.
defenses start.
I just don't believe it.
Watch,
I,
Kevin O'Connell can do it.
Kevin O'Connell probably can. I'm not doubting that, but I don't trust. I mean, their defense has been inconsistent. So I really want to see what they can do next week before I can make that conclusion. Um,
I think they will make it. I think they will make it. But I'm not.
well, here's the thing. That final week is it's going to come down to that final week. The Packers play the Vikings.
Yeah, I think
So
the Vikings will win it. If that's just me, but
we'll see. I
we'll
mean,
see.
I'll be honest. That's going to be definitely a fun matchup. But I think the way I trust Jordan Love, I trust the Packers offense more than I do
Jordan Love has
the.
impressed me a lot. I did not expect him to play the way he's been playing this season, but I'm still gonna take. I would personally take the Vikings, but go ahead.
I mean, I mean,
We'll see.
you said
We'll
what
find out.
I think what I was gonna say. I'll say this about Jordan Love. I've been supporting this guy for this entire year because I think he gets a little too much hate. I'm not the biggest Jordan Love believer, but based on the way that the Packers have developed him, based on what I saw early on in the year,
Mm.
I think who knows it's hard to put him and say, you
See,
know, he's
I'm
going
a
to be the next
fan.
Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be the next Brett Favre. That's obvious because it's hard for anyone to sit here and say that you're going to be
Yeah,
the next elite quarterback, right?
right.
But
Because the
like,
Packers have just had that stretch of
right.
quarterbacks. But okay,
I
this
still
is
think
just
he's going to
me.
be good. I mean, you saw Aaron Rodgers in his first season with the
See,
Packers. He
I never
struggled, but he still was
see.
good.
But here's the thing. I never. This is the thing I will say about the Packers. I never doubted Matt LaFleur. I think he's
I
honestly,
did.
honestly, the first 3 seasons, for some reason, like the man was consistent winner. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers had his problems with the Packers organization, not with him as a play caller. As a play caller, this man is outstanding, right? But people had a problem with him. Okay, a
Hmm.
lot of people had a problem with him, and I personally I think he's one of the better play callers in the NFL. And you've seen that this season as how he's progressed as a head coach. So I think like in that
Yeah.
regard, I respect the Packers, but I don't think that I think personally the Vikings have a lot more grit, a lot more fight, a lot more everything compared to the Packers as an organization.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens, but I have more faith.
Yeah. And
Um,
then as far
then
as the NFC East goes, I'm going to take the Cowboys. I think right
yeah,
now they still have the advantage. I think
over the
both
Eagles,
teams
I
are going
think
to win
so. I
out.
think so. Based on how the
Yeah.
defense has been playing for the Eagles, I agree.
Yeah. So those are my playoff predictions. It's definitely going to be an interesting, a very fun next 2 weeks. A lot of parity in the league, a lot of mediocrity, as Brady kind of alluded to, as far as quarterback play and
Yeah.
coaching. But nevertheless, they're it's set up a lot of interesting storylines, and I can't wait for the next 2 weeks for sure. Um, and as far as that, the final, as far as that goes, yeah, we're gonna as far as the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna move on to a draft. This is a thing that Akilesh and I had been talking about the in our access
English
class
for
in school.
yeah.
Um, I think Ben Bennett got a little annoyed at us or
Yeah, he
the
did. He
access
did a
advisor,
lot.
but
He did.
still, I mean, it was a very interesting conversation. A lot of arguments as far as who's better or who fits which team, and I think that will be the interesting thing, the intrigue, the mystique, so to say, about the head about the this certain activity that we're going to be doing and
Yeah.
sharing with you guys over the
So
next 30 minutes.
essentially, what we're gonna do is we're gonna first of all do a coin toss, and then based on that, whoever goes first will choose their offense as players only, and then whoever lost it will get their first choice for defense, and then consequently a draft will occur. Um, as we do the after we do that, we will go on to a coaching staff, and then at the end, we're gonna have as we go along, we'll debate obviously, but we're gonna kind of have like an overall discussion on who would be better, the type of system that we would apply to. So it's gonna be a very like NBA All-Star draft, you know, LeBron, Giannis. I'm already ready, man. I got my notebook like Giannis. I'm ready to go.
Man, I'm just sitting here like Katie with like well no hood unfortunately, but I'm sitting here with the crew
Yeah,
neck, just chilling, just watching, just waiting in the
yeah,
shadows like the Slim Reaper, man.
yeah. I
Ready
mean,
to
we'll
kill you with
see.
the move.
We'll see. Well, hopefully you don't be a snake, but okay, next up.
Oh, don't go there. Do not
So
go there, man.
no. Well, I mean, look, everybody knows it was true. Everybody knows man wanted a championship, so he went to the 73-9 team. So
That
okay, we're
shouldn't
gonna
be a
leave it there.
problem.
We're gonna leave it there.
Shohei Ohtani did that with the Dodgers just recently. Mike
Oh
Mussina
well,
did that with the Yankees. Ronaldo did that with Real Madrid.
not with the most wins by an NBA team in NBA history.
Zlatan did that with Barcelona.
Oh God, don't start it. Come on, you know you can't refute any of those complaints against 73-9.
Oh, I
Okay,
can. I definitely. Oh, Mike Mussina. I can give you that. Mike Mussina with the Yankees.
no.
I mean,
Well,
if
I
you
mean,
if
well, you can give me that. I just won't understand it because I don't follow baseball.
maybe you need to follow
Okay.
baseball.
No,
Anyways,
no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
ah,
I
come on.
prefer I prefer other sports compared to. Okay. Now,
Regardless,
okay. So, you want me to do the coin? I'll
yeah.
let you
Let's share the
decide.
screen first as far as the coin flip goes.
So, let me go. You want to share screen or do you want me to go?
Uh, hold up. I yeah. Let's try it. Hold up. One sec.
So you can
All right.
you can literally search up coin toss online and then
Yep.
we'll find a good coin to work with.
Well, unfortunately, I'm using Bing, so
Oh,
uh,
really?
yeah. But anyways, yeah. So here we go. Share screen. We
hmm
got coin toss. Share that.
Okay,
Ready?
let's see how this goes.
Three,
So,
two. Oh, wait. First
you
call.
call.
First call.
You call. You call. You call. I'll let you give it to you.
Tails.
All right, let's see how this goes.
Off.
Okay, it's
Mm.
gone to me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I thought about the first pick for a very, very long time. See, what should happen is a very obvious choice, but I'm not sure if I want to be obvious here because I'm planning ahead. I'm okay. My first decision of this draft, I'm gonna take who I regard as the second greatest player in NFL history, a guy who completely changed the game and was the most dominant person at his position that NFL history has ever seen, and the first player that cannot be debated upon. I'm gonna go ahead and take the greatest receiver that
I
this planet
hate
has
you
ever known,
so much. I
Mr.
hate you
Mr.
so much.
Mr. Wait, stop. Mr. GOAT Jerry Rice as my first pick of this draft.
Akilas, just to
Smart.
confirm, I just want to make sure. So when we do the draft, are we doing like alternate rounds? So like you pick first for the first round, and then I pick the first pick for the second round.
Oh, well, or do you just want to go back and forth? It's up to you. I mean, I took your man, so I'm gonna allow you to choose.
Okay. You can go first for the first for each round actually, and then we'll
Oh,
swap for the
okay,
coaches one.
so I'll get two choices essentially at the same time.
No, so basically you'll get first round. So first round, each of us picks, right? One pick,
hmm
and then I pick now, and then you pick again. So we basically go back and forth,
Okay, back and
right?
forth.
And then
Okay,
for the coaches, it'll be alternate. I get the first pick, and then we do the same thing.
yeah. So wait, so as I explained before, we'll do offense, then defense, then coaches
Yeah,
instead of coaches
pretty
immediately.
much.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I've taken mine, wide receiver one as
So you
Jerry
got
Rice.
Jerry Rice as your wide receiver one.
Yeah, and I'm also if I can request, I would like to change. So wide receiver, I would like to request two wide receivers, please.
You have to trade with me then.
Wait, we can only have one wide receiver, is it?
Oh no, you can do two. You can do two. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
Okay.
you can
Yeah,
take.
yeah. So it's now my pick. All right.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just take maybe potentially the greatest football player of all time. I think that
Okay.
man is named Thomas Edward Brady.
Very
A
good.
local kid
Very
of the
good.
name of a
I'm
high school
liking
by
it.
the name
You
of
know
Ben
what? I'm really
Caracera.
liking this. I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
liking this because I mean it had to be done. It had to be done at some point. So I'm happy you did that. Okay. So with my second pick, mm, now I can go in many ways with this, but I'm gonna take a guy I know you want. I know you want him. I'm gonna take Megatron Calvin Johnson.
Okay. I'm not that
I'm gonna
mad.
go with
I'm
that.
not that mad
Yeah.
actually.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
I guess I'll just take the guy that was on the receiving end of 23 times for Tom Brady, the most
Very
dominant
nice. Very nice.
quarterback receiving duo in a
I
season
already
of
had it
all
written down.
time.
I already wrote it down. I already wrote it down, dude. I already wrote it down.
Randy Moss, man. Randy
Very
Moss.
good.
The
Very
most
good.
unstoppable athletic force of all time, not named
Yeah, no.
Calvin Johnson,
No, 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 no,
but
no.
he did it over a
Second to Calvin
longer
Johnson.
time.
Second to Calvin Johnson. That's because Calvin Johnson was just as probably more dominant. That's why he got injured so
But he
much.
did
So
it more. He did it longer. I can bet that your
with
team is
with
probably going to
with
be
with
done in 5 years. I'm going to
with
be
no no
doing
no no
this
hey
for
hey hey,
10,
hey time
20
out, time
years,
out. Hey,
man.
oh, first of all, 5 years. Okay, let's think about this. So Jerry Rice was
2000.
dominant for how long? Oh yeah, for so many years. Then Calvin Johnson. Well, let's see. If I need a Hail Mary, I throw it to Calvin Johnson. He'll probably catch over five guys if need be. So I'm not gonna go there.
I think
All
Randy
right.
Moss can do the same thing.
Now,
Oh, and probably he'll do it one-handed too. He'll do it with
uh,
some
eh,
style and then moon the crowd.
well, I
And
mean,
Joe Buck
I
will be
don't
like,
know.
"That is
Well,
a
well,
disgusting act by Randy
so
Moss."
he was able to do that with the greatest quarterback of all time. My guy Calvin Johnson did with Matthew Stafford, Dan Orlovsky, and a bunch of other guys. So I don't know about that argument exactly. So I'm gonna move on to my pick now.
Randy Moss did it with Dante Culpepper for a long time.
Is Dante Culpepper better than worse than
He's
Matthew
worse than Matthew Stafford. I
Stafford?
will sit here and say that.
I don't
Continue.
know. Okay, next. Okay, my pick now. This is one I've been debating. Now, the interesting thing is I haven't filled my position in yet, and I'm gonna do it right now. I will take Joe Cool Montana as my
Joe
quarterback.
Montana. Okay.
Joel, Joel.
Joe Montana.
Okay, there we go. So I say Joel Montana.
Okay. It's a good thing you left me with the ability to continue to make myself a more balanced attack.
Very nice.
I'm just gonna go and take the guy who is probably the greatest running back of all time, none
Walter
other than
Payton.
Mr. Walter Payton,
Very
Mr.
good.
Sweetness. Not just a great.
Thank you.
He won't just make my football team great. He'll make my community great. He'll make children.
Yeah,
He'll make
that's true.
children prosper in because of
hmm
how much he'll donate. He'll be the Walter Payton Man of the Year next to
That's
Randy
true.
Moss and Tom Brady. This is just
hmm
the greatest you can get.
hmm hmm Now, I know what you would do next if I don't take this guy right now. But I also think if I go with another guy, and even if you take this guy, I will still be at more of an advantage. So I am debating this very hard. I'm gonna take Jim Brown with my next pick
Oh, God damn
because
it.
because
That was
I
my next
know
pick.
if you have Jim Brown and Walter Payton on one team, it's gonna be a tough day for me on the backfield.
That
So
is oh my God. I hate you so much.
actually, Yash, if you don't mind, I'll give you a little bit of a teaser right now. I'd like you to change Jim Brown to the running back position, please.
That's fine with me.
It
Okay.
wasn't fine with you 2 seconds ago. You know that was.
It would be worse if he's my fullback though. I'll say that much.
All right,
Okay.
your next pick.
My next pick. I'm gonna go with bolstering my offensive line. Tom Brady always needs a great offensive line.
Yes,
So I'm gonna
completely
just
agree.
go and take the
The
greatest
greatest
offensive
tackle of all
line of
time,
all time, and that would be
Anthony
none other than
Munoz.
Mr. Anthony Munoz.
I'm predicting your every pick right now, but you know what? If I'm being honest with you, you have some great picks right now. So I will not refute that at all. With my next pick, see, I could go many ways here, but I'm gonna take the guy that made Tom Brady, from 2010 to 2020. I'm gonna take probably the greatest tight end of all time in Rob Gronkowski.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Now you put me
See,
in a
this is
very
where it becomes
interesting,
tough
yeah,
because
this
now
puts
you
me
have
in a
to
very
kind of
interesting
see.
position, and I like it. Look, I like where my team is at right now. I'm not mad at all.
I think you
But
have a
I'm
good
not
team.
gonna go for a skill position player. Actually,
I think you
hmm,
should.
hmm. Ah, yeah, actually I am. I
Hmm.
lied about that. I'm gonna go Terrell Owens.
Two
Perfect
big
freak
men.
athlete.
Two
You
big
put
men.
him next to
That
Randy
that
Moss.
is
A lot of
that
yak
is what I would
yak
have
and
done.
catch. A
If
lot of
I was,
speed. I don't think you can doubt that as far
you know what's
as
really
size
interesting
too.
about this? You know what's really interesting about this?
This is
Terrell
the
Owens and
exact
Randy Moss,
opposite of,
Tom
yeah, this
Brady
is the
was
exact
my team. Was my team. Okay, okay, I see you. I see you trying to copy me over here. Okay, I mean, I would try to copy one who is also good, but never mind. Let's see. Next pick. Now, I could go two ways here because I don't think you'll be predicting what I do on this regard. No, I haven't got an offensive line yet, but I need a really good interior offensive lineman. I'm going to take
oh
Larry Allen from the Dallas
oh that was
Cowboys.
my next pick. I hate you. Damn it.
Uh, Playing checkers, man. Playing checkers.
God damn. That is a good pick. Larry Allen, the biggest freak athlete I've ever seen of that size, 325 pounds, and he could run with a track star linebacker and
Yeah.
bring him down after being away 20 yards. He was DK
Hmm.
Metcalf before DK Metcalf's chase down tackle.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
that
He was.
meme of J.R. Smith chasing Hennessy before J.R. Smith chased Hennessy.
What is? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. What is up with this now, man?
Jeez, damn, that's a good pick. All right, I'm gonna go with a guy was that was friends with one of my former teacher's sons. None other than Mr. Jim Otto, the center for the
Wow.
Oakland
Wow,
Raiders.
man.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, big ups. Big ups on that one. Jim
Yes.
Otto, Mr. Double
The
O
greatest
himself.
center of
Hey,
all time. You need a
yeah,
center. In this
respect
day and
it.
age, especially, you need a
I
center,
respect it.
elite center if you want to win
I
Super Bowls.
respect it. I respect that pick, man. Jim Otto, one of the greatest humans ever. Forget
Yeah,
about
for
just
sure.
people, humans. Next up, what I want to
Double
do is
zero.
I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna take Marshall Falk
As your flex,
as my fullback.
as your fullback. Oh,
Hmm.
damn. That's a very interesting pick. I don't know if that'll work though.
Hmm.
Marshall Falk is small and he's soft. Willie McGinnis
Hmm.
is put that out
Hmm.
there on many occasions. That was
Hmm.
why they won the Super Bowl against
Yeah.
Rams because they
Hmm.
just kept hitting and
But
hitting.
but but here's the thing. Here's the thing. They never had a running back. See, here's the thing, man. See, you're looking at my offense as just any other offense, but not a current day offense. See, just because a fullback doesn't necessarily mean need to block, does it?
Maybe not,
If
but in
if
the
you look at
case
the
of
current day
Marshall
and age, if you
Falk,
look at the current day and age, see, but here's the thing that you don't understand. In this current day and age, a running back could be a blocker. See, once I'm done with my team, I'll explain to you how my offense is going to work.
in
There
that
there
case
is
though,
a
I would
strategy
switch
behind
Marshall
this.
Falk and Jim Brown if I were you. Like
Well, I mean,
personally,
that's it for me. Honestly, fullback, running back position, I could alternate
interchangeable.
any day, anytime.
Okay,
So
I
that's me.
respect that.
But
I'm gonna
um,
sit here and I'm thinking as far as both my flex, my fullback, my tight end
mhm,
position. I want to be able to add something in that sense as far as what I can do in the skill position. I've
mhm,
been thinking for a long time of adding either someone in the case of Travis Kelsey, Antonio Gates, someone
yeah,
like that. But I'm still a little hesitant on that.
mhm,
Um, I'm
true.
not gonna go down that path. I'm actually gonna go down the path of a flex option. I don't think you might know. I'm not exactly. want to make sure I'm correct on his name. He played for the Lions in the 30s. This is a really
No, no,
throwback
no,
player.
no, no, no. I
Yes,
sorry. If you go with who I'm thinking,
yes, I
no, no,
am.
no, 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 no.
I forget his name though,
No.
however, so I'm gonna be telling you that.
Billy Sims? No,
Uh,
Billy Sims played in the 80s.
no, no, it is not that man. Hold up, I will tell you in a sec. It's not Billy Sims, and it's not here. Hold up, give me one sec.
Okay, we
No,
got a no name on this one. Ladies and
I forgot
gentlemen,
his
man of
name.
the
I
people.
learned about him like a year
No
ago.
name Simpson out of here, boys.
No, that is not the one I was thinking. Why can I not
1930.
figure him out? Hold up.
I'm actually
Dutch
really
Clark. There we
intrigued
go.
to
Dutch
find out
Clark.
who
Dutch
Dutch
Clark.
Clark. Okay.
Yes. This man played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, kicker. Okay.
Okay, I see. Wow.
Extremely
You
versatile
want a
player.
versatile guy. Okay.
Yes. I'm going to go
I'll
down the
take it.
versatile path.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
take a 1930s guy. Okay, sure. You know
Yes.
what? If I'm being honest, I would laugh if I didn't know enough about NFL history, but it's a good pick. I'm not gonna say here and it was a bad pick.
Completely
It's a
forgot
good
about
pick.
his name, but yes, this man played four positions, played pretty well for the 30s. I think, given
Hmm.
the fact that he was mauled by some players, if you see some of his film, like people would pull him down by a horse collar, they like throw elbows in his damn neck.
It's
I
a
mean,
30s, so that's how it was played.
yeah,
But
with that type
yeah,
of
okay.
versatility, it opens up a bunch of different things for me. And even if he's just ends up becoming a decoy or something like that, I
Mm,
think that would be very useful, especially to this offense with the types of players that it has, with Walter Payton running down the throat of players,
hmm.
with Terrell Owens and Randy Moss doing whatever the hell they want to do on receivers or on opposing cornerbacks. So for
Yeah.
me, yeah,
Mm. I'm gonna go ahead. No, I have a flex that you won't expect me to pull out, so I'm not. I'm gonna wait on it. I'm gonna go here and take who I regard as the second greatest tackle of all time, Jonathan Ogden.
Jonathan Ogden. Okay, I like that. Nice. That's a nice pick. All right. For me now, I'm definitely gonna go in the tight end room. For me at
I
this
think you
point,
need
it's
to.
definitely
I think
noteworthy
you
that I
need to.
need a tight end, and I'm gonna go with my man Tony Gonzalez. I think a very underrated
Wow.
blocker. Very
Wow.
underrated blocker, and definitely to me
Huh.
still the best receiving tight end in the league until Travis Kelsey beats his record, which I think he's pretty close to. And once he does, I will call Travis Kelsey that. But I do think that Travis Kelsey is a far worse blocker than Tony Gonzalez. So I'm going to sit here and take
Yeah, yeah.
and who I think is a better blocker too as a tight end.
Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna complete my offensive line. You went with the classic from the 1930s. I'm gonna go with the classic from I believe the 19 I would say 1950s to 1960s and Chuck Benardic as my center.
Oh, damn. The guy who's I think has a defensive award named after him in
Yeah.
college football, the linebacker award.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
that's Dick Butkus. No,
That's Dick
but he has a
Butkus,
defensive. I know that for a fact.
but
He has a
he has an
defensive.
offensive line award, if I'm not wrong, Bernardic.
No, that's the Remington.
Really? Okay.
So yeah, I think.
But I mean, hey,
Well,
he's great.
regardless, yeah, he's a great pick for the center position. Very good for the Philadelphia Eagles for a while.
Yeah.
So I would, yeah, I'm. That's a mad respect to you for that pick.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Um, as far as my fullback though, I look, I need a miracle worker in case your defense turns out to be legendary. I need a guy who pulled out one of the most immaculate plays of all time, and I think you know where I'm going with the play on words, Mr. Franco Harris. Rest in peace.
The
The
that
one of
that without the doubt is the most respected pick of
the
no,
greatest
you know
position
what,
steals
man?
of
No.
all time, but
That is
fullback.
the
I did not even know he was a fullback for a long time, actually. Believe it or not,
yeah.
I found that
He
out.
he was a fullback.
Yeah,
He played a fullback and then running back I think was um
his final 3 years.
yeah, I don't remember his name, but he played number 20 on the Steelers. It was a running back during
Yeah.
that time, the 1970s. So now on to my flex player. Now this is a player I've really thought about. Either I could go with a tight end that could block in need be or could catch on the outside, or I could go with the speedy receiver or a receiver that's just great on all positions, and need be, I can change him around anywhere I need him. See, with Jerry Rice, he can go long distances. With Marshall
Right.
Falk, I can put him to the side, screen plays here and there. Calvin Johnson, I can take him on any day, anytime, anywhere. Jim Brown can be great in terms of a blocking scheme. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna make the bold decision of going for Mr. Marvin Harrison as my
Ooh.
flex.
Ooh. Damn. His son is dominating with Ohio, or was dominating with Ohio State. Now he's going to be in the NFL very soon. But Mr.
Yeah,
Marvin Harrison, one of the best receivers for another quarterback that deserves to at
we
least
didn't
get
pick,
some
we didn't
recognition,
pick
Mr. Peyton
off
Manning.
strategy. Off strategy, we didn't pick him. Okay, no disrespect to that man. Third quarter, second greatest quarterback in my opinion. But
In my opinion, third greatest quarterback, but
yeah,
the smartest player, period, I've seen in football history.
yeah,
The ability he had to be able to read the field. But Marvin
he's
Harrison,
he's
best
he's
receiver
amazing.
for as far as for Peyton Manning, as far as his hands were second to none at some
Sure,
point in the league. And that was
sure.
in an era that had Randy Moss and Terrell Owens and Larry Fitzgerald. So
Yeah,
he is an incredible receiver. And that's a I
mhm,
got it's a very interesting pick. I'll say that much.
yeah.
I would love to see how that would line up with the rest of your team. But
Okay.
now we're gonna
Now,
move on to the defensive side of the ball.
well,
Oh
we
wait,
we need a
I have my
guard.
guard position. Right, I still have my guard position. Damn, forgot about that. Ooh, you left me with a tough one. Actually, I'm gonna think about this for a quick sec. Hmm, hmm. I'm gonna go with, if I'm not mistaken, he was a guard, Mister. Is it Jerry or Jim Kramer? Forget what his first name is. But in
Jerry Kramer. Frick.
the Packers, Jim Kramer.
Jerry Kramer. Jerry Kramer.
Jerry, yes, from the Packers.
Damn it.
Um, hey, Notre Dame always produces great offensive line, and the Green Bay Packers had the best offensive line period in the 1960s.
60s, 50s,
Vince Lombardi
60s.
loved
Oh.
that, and hey, I got the, in my opinion, Larry Allen. I missed out on him. I'm kind of sad about that, but still, Anthony Munoz, Jerry Kramer, and Jim Otto. I am
No,
not
no,
at
no, 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 no,
all
no.
mad.
Look, Jonathan Ogden, Chuck Bernardic, Chuck
I would
Bernardic,
take
and
Jim
Larry
Otto and
Allen.
Anthony Munoz any day over Jonathan Ogden
No,
and
no, no,
Chuck
no, no, no,
Bernard.
no. Anthony Munoz, I agree. Jim Otto, maybe not. No, maybe not over
No,
Chuck
no,
Bernardic.
Jim Otto to me
Chuck,
is
no, no,
by
no, no.
far the greatest
No,
center
no.
of all time.
Here's the thing. No, 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 no. The thing that people don't understand about Chuck Bernardic is this: man was the most physical center in NFL history. He could manhandle anybody, anytime, any day. I've seen Jim Otto on plays where he's got like just. I don't want to mention this guy's name because if it comes up, you're gonna steal it. So I don't want to do it.
Well, hey, look, it
You got
depends
well. You
on
got
what we do on the defensive side of the ball.
so
But
now
look,
that's you
I'm
now.
waiting. I'm
That
waiting.
is you. That is you. So you have first pick for the defense because I had first pick on the offense. I'm going to give you first pick for the
Hey, for the
defense.
defensive side of the ball, I have to take the guy who, to me, is, I think to most people, is the greatest defensive player of all time. Maybe he's a little bit overrated, but the fact of the matter is he changed the game as far as what teams could do. Bill Belichick loved him for a specific reason. Mr. Lawrence Taylor, none other than that. And I'm going to put him at my edge position,
Okay.
obviously.
Now I have to really think about what you have. So you have Tom Brady. You have the greatest tackle in NFL history, in Anthony Munoz. In terms of a blocking guys, you don't have the best blocking backs on the planet. You have very strong backs, but not best the blocking backs. Sorry, my bad. You have huge receivers in Terrell Owens and Randy Moss, tall receivers. You have Dutch Clark, who I have no idea who that man is.
Watch his highlights, man. He's a fun player to watch.
You have Franco Harris, who is not going to be the biggest threat for me, but is a respectable threat. Um, hmm. I'm going to go ahead and take the Minister of Defense in Reggie White.
Oh man, I was hoping you didn't go there. Damn. Where are you putting him? Edge or interior defensive line?
You know what? I'm gonna put him on my interior defensive line.
Okay, that's very respectable. I think he's was better as an interior defensive line. I don't
Dan
think
as an edge, yeah.
talk
I
about
felt
him
so
as an
too.
edge.
I felt
He
so
was great
too.
at both. Yeah.
He was great at anything, period.
Yeah. Um, my second pick, because you have probably the two of my favorite players of all time in Jim Brown and Marshall Faulk. Um, I'm gonna go with one of my favorite defensive players of all time and a guy that I think is probably the most feared player of the last 20 years. As far Michael Vick said he was the only player he ever was afraid of. That is none other than the guy who inspired me to do the deck of cards push-up drill, and
Ray
changed my life
Lewis.
completely as far as motivation. None other than Mr. Number 52, Ray Lewis, one of the first football players that I ever laid eyes on. Incredible, incredible athlete, incredibly tough, incredibly skilled, incredibly
Hmm.
strong,
Hmm.
incredibly feared. He was an absolute villain, super villain, scary as hell when you saw him on the football field. And I think I need that against Jim Brown, especially. He would
Yeah,
probably be the only guy who could bring him down.
yeah. Well, I know another guy who could bring him down, and I know another guy who could bring down Walter Payton and any other guy you have on your team right now without even hitting them. He would just stare into their faces and scare the life out of them.
Oh no.
I'm gonna go with the greatest safety of all time in Ronnie Lott.
Ronnie Lott as your strong safety, I would reckon, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Good defense is looking feared, but I'm gonna go with the partner, the the Robin to Mr. Ray Lewis's Batman. The range of this safety was unlike any other player, and I think he's definitely necessary when you're playing a guy like Joe Montana who can move around the way he did with receivers
Yeah.
as fast or as mobile as Jerry Rice or Calvin Johnson. So I'm gonna go with Mr. Ed Reed.
Hmm. Looking at your offense. Now, here's the thing. Now, you've taken Ed Reed, probably the greatest free safety of all time. So, I would like to request Ronnie Lott be moved to free safety, actually, now.
Okay.
Hmm. See, I'm debating a long time on this because if I let you allow you to run the ball, you don't have the greatest fullback to block, but you have the greatest running back who is extremely strong. Ronnie Lott can hit them. Reggie White can get to him as well. In terms of your receivers, you have very tall receivers, and Ronnie Lott can cover a lot of field. But they're also very tough receivers. And the only way I can combat toughness is by going a little bit old. So with the one of the tallest receiver duos, I'm gonna go ahead and take. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take at my strong safety the man Michael Vick said almost tore his life apart in Brian Dawkins.
Wow. Hey, mad respect. Ryan Dawkins is one of my favorite players to watch. Um, Wild as hell with some of his I wouldn't call them antics, but definitely some of his theater play before
Yeah.
games began, coming out
Hmm.
like looking like a damn spider one time. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah. He
god,
was
he
scary.
was so
Scary.
scary to see. Some of those
Scary.
highlights, you see him on any YouTube short or TikTok
He's
edits. I
amazing. He's
mean,
amazing.
God, they make him look like he's freaking Joker in like a horror movie,
But
or
I
they make
mean,
him look
he
like Jack
is.
Nicholson in The
He really
Shining.
is. He really is, though.
All right. I'm gonna stay on the limb as far as what is going on with your offense as far as the mobility standpoint. You have some of the most athletic offensive line, so I feel I should combat that with a lot of athleticism itself. Someone who I think can definitely chase down Joe Montana in the
Hmm.
day and age where speed is the name of the game. I think this man would be extremely beneficial alongside Lawrence Taylor, a guy who makes every edge rusher better. So imagine him next to Lawrence Taylor.
Hmm.
I don't think you would really be able to
Okay.
stop. these
Fine.
guys, but
Fine.
together. But that would be Aaron
Fine.
Donald, who I think at this
Fine.
point he has put
Fine.
himself in the conversation. I think at this point he definitely
Fine.
is the second greatest interior D lineman of all time. At his
Maybe.
specific
Maybe.
three technique player, he's the greatest three technique defensive line of all time.
Maybe. Maybe. Okay, I like the pick. I'm not gonna lie, I like the pick. Now, with the way my defense is also being positioned, I'm looking at your receivers again and again. I'm looking at your receivers because Tom Brady is not mobile by any means, right? He's not mobile by any means. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually. I understand you have the tallest receivers on the planet, but hmm, you have tall. You have. You know what? I think I. Uh, we haven't gone with any corners yet. And it's a very interesting thing that you haven't gone and I haven't gone. So there's definitely a strategy on your side for not going to any corners yet. But I'm gonna go ahead and go for a corner here. I'm gonna go ahead and take Deion Sanders,
Okay.
the greatest cornerback in NFL history, without a doubt.
In his prime, he was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Completely. All right, it's my turn now, right? Here we go.
Yes, it is.
Again, I still feel like I need to go down the same path of being able to stop everyone on your team. But then again, you
Mm-hmm.
have so much versatility with someone like Rob Gronkowski or Marvin Harrison. I don't know where to go exactly. Rob Gronkowski is huge. I feel like I need someone to
Yeah.
combat that. Um, there are only few safeties ever I would put in that conversation that I would be able to bring down Rob Gronkowski with that type of force, but also be
Mm-hmm.
enough athletic to be able to stop someone like Marvin Harrison. For
Sure.
me, I'm gonna go with the man who could fly, who made R. Kelly's song come true. Unfortunately, R. Kelly is not exactly the greatest person to allude to, but he believed he could fly, and he definitely could, Mr. Troy Polamalu. And that is
Very good
my
pick.
strong safety.
Very good pick, my friend. Very good pick. Now, that has opened me the gateway now into something that's gonna show so I'm gonna go across the same path in terms of your receivers, Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. I'm not exactly the most concerned about Dutch Clark, but I'm not gonna rule him out yet. I'm gonna take the toughest corner in NFL history, the tallest corner maybe in NFL history, in Mel Blount.
That was going to be my next pick. That's a very good pick too.
Now the height difference is not gonna be the most my biggest problem, but I'm still gonna allow you to go.
This is one I'm going to have a little bit of trouble. I'm going to take a little bit of my time here for this one.
I think we should. I'm gonna add this one thing. We can have a hint for both of us each as to what we think we should give as a player, or you should
Okay,
pick as a player, if you want that.
we should do that. One for each section.
All right. Do you want to go? Do you want me? Do
Sure,
you want me to help you now?
sure. Right.
Looking at my team right now, what you're lacking is a guy who has that flexibility. No. You don't have to do that. You can just add it along in when any
Oh
of the
no,
positions you're in.
this is not a clue. This is just this is something I feel like.
Oh, okay, no problem. Okay, here's the thing. Looking at my team, what you have is Ray Lewis, Aaron Donald, Lawrence Taylor. You have Edry and Troy Polamalu, who could play on really when it comes to deep balls, not necessarily when it comes to inside plays. I can pass Joe Montana can pass it inside to Jerry Rice any day. He can pass it to Jim Brown if need be, Marshall Falk, Rob Gronkowski. If he need be, he can throw deep to Calvin Johnson. He can throw to Rob Gronkowski if need be. He can throw to Jerry Rice if need be. What you're lacking right now is a cornerback that can guard all of these. Now, I took the one cornerback that could guard him. I would suggest, personally, if I was you, I would suggest you take your favorite corner in Charles Woodson at your cornerback position.
I'm thinking of that. That was definitely something that I had in my mind for sure. I'm just not exactly sure whether one I was thinking one I was thinking whether you would take him but two I
Mm,
was also wondering whether that would be great as far as I want to be able to remain as physical as you. and I
Yeah.
don't think Woodson was necessarily the most physical
Sure.
um
Sure.
or physical cornerback.
Hmm.
Then again, you have some of the biggest freak athletes on your defensive line, which
The
will
only
give you more
see, if
versatility.
you really think about it, if you really think about it, Tom Brady has, in his entire career, said only two people messed my career up: Ed
Exactly.
Reed and Charles
So I think
Woodson.
I'm gonna go down your path. Actually, I'm gonna
Okay.
take my guy Charles Woodson.
All right.
The other guy I was thinking of was actually Rod Woodson.
My next pick, baby. Let's go. Thank you. Now, Rod Woodson now plays at my flex position on defense. This man played safety for the Super Bowl winning 2000 Ravens, played cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, won defensive player at there. Look, I'm sorry if you feel like I bamboozled you or tried to like fix you up. I'm true
I'm
genuinely
not
I
mad
said this,
actually.
man.
I'm really not mad. You could take it. I'm fine
I
with it.
genuinely wanted you to take Charles Woodson because I wanted Rod Woodson personally too. I get that. But like I think Rod Woodson for me is much more perfect considering what you have on your side
Mhm.
right now. But now is where you can decide going to cornerback, flex. It's up to you at this point, man.
Hey, for cornerback, this is another guy I would look at this point. I just need a guy who, in my opinion, I feel can lock down someone. But at the same time, I feel I want a guy who can fly all over the place. Um, I'm gonna move Lawrence. I'm gonna be a little interesting here. I'm gonna move Lawrence Taylor to my flex option, and I'm gonna bring in a guy who I think is definitely guaranteed against your offensive against your offensive line is going to guarantee at least getting sacks, especially with
Hmm.
someone like Aaron Donald who can take in a lot of attention in the interior
Okay.
D line. I want to be able to get pure sacks.
Sure.
So for that reason, I'm going to take none other than the sack artist himself, the sack master, Mr. Sack Daddy Bruce Smith.
I hate you so much. I was about to perfect my defense with that. Oh, stupid. Um.
Yeah. But can I be honest with
Mm,
you with your offensive line or with your
mm,
defense actually?
mm,
My recommendation for you
mm.
is to try to go after a freak athlete. I would sit here and tell you to go after someone in the likes of perhaps um, I would move Reggie White to my edge rusher, or even keep Reggie White as my interior D lineman
Okay.
and get someone like JJ Watt, prime JJ
As
Watt,
an edge, yeah, yeah.
destructive beast like
I'm
that.
thinking about that, man. I'm really thinking
Or
about
I
that.
take a linebacker who's a freak athlete. I
Yeah,
take
yeah, yeah.
someone
No,
in the sense of Mike
I understand what you're
Singletary
saying.
or Patrick
I
Willis.
understand what you're saying. That's what I was thinking, honestly. You know, Patrick Willis, take as an inside linebacker or something. But you know, mm, okay, wait. I just gotta search this guy's name up because I'll know him the moment I see him. If I see his face, I think I will know him. I'm gonna take the man who has the third most sacks in NBA history in
NBA,
Kevin Green.
Kevin Green as your edge rusher.
Yes, because this man has.
And so we're back. Yeah, it's been a few days since we last recorded the podcast due to some time constraint issues. We are back now. It is now Sunday. Where I was just watching the Niners game as we won the division, locked up the number one seed.
Congratulations, guys!
Crazy
Congratulations.
day of football so far. The Ravens scored
It should have been the
56
Lions. You know, it
on
should have been the
Dolphins.
Lions, but we'll give it. We'll give it.
Hey, hey, hey.
You know good and well that that call was the worst call this season. Maybe in the past this decade, easily that was probably the
Decade,
worst
I
call.
wouldn't say because their Lions
No,
have
no,
been
no, no.
screwed by in worse ways
No, no,
this
no, no,
decade
no, no.
itself.
No, 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 no. You know why this hurts? This was the first chance that the Lions, since, if I'm not wrong, 1991 or 92, that they had a chance of locking in the number one seed in the entire East, in the entire NFL on the East side,
Yeah, but if we're
right?
talking last decade, that includes 2014, correct?
I,
2014,
I
they
would,
got
I
screwed
would
really
take it.
badly in the
I would
playoffs.
take it. No, 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 no. Because here's the thing. they would have beat the Cowboys at Cowboy Stadium to lock up the number one seed. A team that has destroyed the Lions again and again and again with the 2 point conversion to an offensive lineman. You know how embarrassing that is? With Jimmy Johnson going into the Dallas Cowboys Hall of Fame on the same exact day,
And
doing that to
Michael
him.
Irvin being there as CeeDee Lamb passes
Yeah.
him for the receiving record in the single season.
Imagine if that happened. That's why it was worse, man.
Hey,
I'm
I
gonna.
don't know. I
I
mean,
was mad.
it's a debate. It's a worthwhile debate to have one day, but that day is a
Okay.
different day.
Okay.
Um,
My bad.
in
My
the
bad.
mean,
My
no, no,
bad.
not at all. In the meanwhile, it's a great introduction and a great setup. Well, sort of. We'll see. Into our segment as far as the roster construction
All
goes
time
of
roster.
our
Yeah.
all-time draft.
Oh. Okay. Wait. Hold up. I gotta get my notebook. There we go.
See, okay, I see you're putting up the notebook, but here we are. We're
Yeah.
gonna share screen again,
Yep. And
as
so, yeah. Doo doo doo. All right. Mm,
yes. And for those who are wondering, yes, we are sharing screen through Zoom because we are poor and we are high school kids.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we will hopefully be getting better resources as time goes
So,
on, but
okay.
as
Try
this
working now.
podcast is finding its legs right now, this is what we have. So yeah.
Yeah. Is it working now?
No, we don't see it
All
yet.
right.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Let me
Now
see
I
if I
got
can
it.
try
Hold
it
up.
from
Now
now.
I got it.
You got it? Okay. Sweet. Nice. Okay. I
Awesome.
think I
So
got.
here we go.
So both
So
our rosters got one more spot left. I'm not wrong. I have a linebacker to pick
correct. You picked Kevin Green, I think, as your
as
last
my
pick, and that was a
edge.
very interesting pick. You
Yeah,
can
it
explain to the
was.
audience why you picked Kevin Green.
Look, I mean, it's simple. If you look at my defense, you got size with Mel Blunt, you've got hit stick with Ronnie Lott and Brian Dawkins, you've got Rod Woodson, Deion Sanders, who are just guys who can fly everywhere when needed. They can pick off Tom Brady. Especially another thing with Tom Brady is he reads the cornerbacks really well. Maybe one of the best of all time, if not the best of all time. One thing though is he's never seen a deceiving cornerback like the likes of Deion Sanders that he's ever seen. Neither has he ever played against a cornerback that has a level to play free safety, strong safety, nickel, left side, right side cornerback, anywhere you want to put him with Rod Woodson. So those picks, what I needed was a guy who's going to attack the quarterback all the time. Reggie White can do it. We know he is a minister of defense, but with the minister, you need a governor, and that's where he comes in. He's going to come at you. He's going to rack all your offense. I mean, we get it. Anthony Munoz is there, but has Anthony Munoz ever played against such a big guy like Reggie White? I mean, I could alternate these guys inside and out. I could play this guy at an elephant position, which Charles Haley developed in his years at the 49ers. So, with that being said, Kevin Green, I mean, you picked up Lawrence Taylor with your first pick. This man has 30 more sacks than Lawrence Taylor. Just putting that out there. The most destructive defensive player ever. And this guy is 160 plus sacks on this guy. So I mean, Kevin Green. I mean, rest in peace. First of all, to what a legend, and
Yeah.
glad to have him on my team.
And
So
you got a ton of versatility on that defensive line. I'll
I
say
do.
that much.
Well, I
You
mean,
got
really, there's only one guy that we're summing up the defensive line as, but I mean, sure,
you got a lot
I
of
got
beef too.
versatility.
I mean, between Kevin Green and Reggie Williams, or Reggie White, that's a I
Okay,
mean that's a full 500 pounds of pure muscle there.
that's
I
true.
mean
That is
that's
true. That's
that's
true, my guy. I
yeah,
mean,
but I mean
Kevin Green's versatile too. I mean, you look at the decades he's played. He's played with the Rams, replacing
absolutely,
Jack Youngblood, something you don't ever think of. And then
yeah,
he goes to Steelers with Bill Cowher. Watch out for Bill Cowher, by the way.
yeah.
And then you look at what's his name again? Oh yeah, the Carolina Panthers and your San Francisco 49ers. He was
Yeah,
still a dominant force there. So I mean, this guy is, and also we've got teammate for teammate here with Rod Woodson and Kevin Green. So you got that teammate relationship also building over here. I think it's just going to be a full on knockout from this point on, and
yeah, and
I'm
on
going to go
top of
ahead
that,
and pick my pick though.
I'm gonna take a second just to compliment you for your saying a governor and a minister. That might be the best thing you've said in this
Thank you,
entire
man.
podcast.
Hey,
I need to
hey,
just let's give a shout out to Akhilesh for that.
appreciate it, man.
Hell of a
Appreciate it.
saying. Um, and as we move on, I mean, my next pick, I planned this
Okay.
now over the last few days. I thought about it a little
Yeah,
bit.
you had time. You had your time. Okay, okay. I
Hey,
want to see what you do though.
so here's
I'm
the
very
thing.
interested in you.
I got a guy in Charles Woodson who
Mm,
is he's a big cornerback, and he's someone that Calvin Johnson has been on record saying that he had trouble against guarding, even though Calvin
Okay.
Johnson's a good 4 inches taller than him. Woodson was
Yeah.
a defensive player of the year during that time that Johnson started becoming that dominant
True.
receiver. So I
True.
have that big
True.
receiver who I can rely on to have some sort of success, maybe one on one or in a few double teams here and there
Okay. I want to
against
see
Calvin
though.
Johnson. Now I need
Okay.
someone to get guard,
Hey,
arguably,
time
not
out, time
arguably,
out, time
the
out, time
great.
out. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second.
Sure.
Can we just look into the fact that how much Josh has been sweating? Let's look at his tabs right here. ESPN, ESPN, ESPN. The NFL stat page, ESPN, ESPN. My man has been grinding to find the best possible team he can do right now. And you know what? You know what? Usually I would smoke you. But in this case, I'm going to give you full on credit. You know why? You know why? He literally says high memory usage detected. I mean, come on. Like, the computer doesn't lie. Now, all I'm going to say is this, man. The fact that you care so much about getting the best content you can on this channel, I think that deserves credit. I think that deserves credit, man. Because you're pulling out your best moves. I mean, I'm not gonna say I didn't do any research. Obviously, I did some research because I want to beat you. But
Absolutely.
I didn't do it at this level. So that I'm giving you props. But I want to hear your pick now. Let's go.
Okay, so for my second cornerback, I need someone who can keep up with the Jerry Rice's ability to get yards after catch. I feel like, well, while Jerry Rice wasn't necessarily the fastest receiver on the planet, he definitely has some elusiveness to him. So I need a guy who has pure speed and can keep up with any of the juke moves that he
I
makes.
think I know where you're going. Okay.
For this reason, I'm going to go with the guy who has a recorded 409 40-yard dash and was a track
Eric
star in
Dickerson.
college,
Eric
Mr. None
Dickerson.
other than Daryl Green.
Eric Dickerson. That's all I got to say. I all I got to say is Eric Dickerson, and we know who we're talking about. It's a very smart pick. I actually was thinking of picking him, but looking at your receivers, I don't think you have the fastest receivers on the planet. So that's the only reason why I didn't go with it. But again, I think a smart pick by you to allow for the receivers to be kind of diminished, maybe. I think that's the word, by
Right.
your speed. Now, oh, Daryl Green. Uh, okay, let's see. So now here's the thing, man. I got hit stick, I got speed, I got agility, I got monster, I got the governor and the minister. I got a whole kingdom by the freaking defensive line. Now, what I'm thinking though is I got a kingdom. But see, in a kingdom, you have your minister, you have the governor, but ultimately in a kingdom, you need a king. The king who's going to make the final decisions, the king who is going to listen to his guys and then ultimately put it out there. A
Oh,
guy who can
damn.
control everything. A guy who's smart, who understands more than anybody else in the history of the NFL. A guy who controlled possibly the greatest defense in the history of this NFL. I'm going with Mike
Mike
Singletary to run my
Singletary,
defense.
the man who scared the crap out of Vernon Davis to the point that I
All I got
cannot
to say is this.
exactly talk about it on this channel. Um, yeah,
That's all I got to
did
say.
what
That's all I
Akilesh
got
was
to say.
doing with his eyes.
That's all I got to say.
Um, put out one of the most legendary rants while he was the head coach of my San Francisco 49ers.
He was, dude.
Um,
We don't realize how tough it is. Tough it is to become a head coach after being possibly the most studious linebacker. I would say
yeah.
over Ray Lewis. Because I mean, you think about the time he put into this. I mean, Mike Singletary. Uh,
There's a
I mean,
reason
I,
why
I
his
said it
eyes.
already.
There's a reason why his eyes are always that wide open. Is because
Because
he
he wants to
spends
see
such
everything.
late nights up that
Yeah,
his eyes
exactly.
are just like he can't keep them
He
open
wants
unless
to
he
see
just bulges them
everything.
out like that.
I mean, the speeches that he would give, like right side, right side, right side, back, like the craziness. Like,
Yeah,
you have to understand. See, look, I got to give credit to myself on this one. The king, the minister, the governor. I have the whole kingdom down. Now, the
good.
thing though is this: the king needs to inspire his others. You look at who he has. You have Ronnie Lott, who's ready to hit any time. Like, you look at this defense; it's kind of positioned in the way the 1985 Bears were: elusive, physical. Like, for me, right? If I was a head coach in the NFL, which would be amazing, but I mean, who knows how long I would last. But if I was a head coach in the NFL, right? I would preach these things, man. Three P's that we need to have: perfection, physicality, passion. Like these are the things that this defense bringing. Talk about passion. Ronnie Lott's ready to break off his pinky for it. Brian Dawkins is ready to say hallelujah whenever he hits somebody. I mean that. Then you have Pat. Then you have physicality. Reggie White, Kevin Green, Mike Singletary. I mean, the kingdom's formed on that one. Like in that way, I really like the way I've positioned my defense. But your defense got some dogs too. Your defense really got some dogs. So I'm not gonna sit here. I mean, look, you really had one of the best safety tandems out there with Ed Reed playing free safety, a monster, a monster. I mean, you have Ray Lewis, Ed Reed connection. You know, only time in NFL history that a player from a defense from the same team won back-to-back defense player of the years. Never ever done before. Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. You have Charles Woodson,
Yeah.
as you said. See, what people don't realize, Charles Woodson wasn't just great at coverage. He was so good at slapping the ball out at a perfect angle that the ball just pops out. You look at the number of fumbles he's given. I
Yeah.
mean, lights
There was a
out.
there's a video clip. There's a very famous short I remember seeing where it's like Charles Woodson, the guy threw the ball and it was a perfect. I don't remember exactly the team, but the guy threw the ball. It was a perfect pass, and the receiver catches it like this, and Woodson perfectly just pokes his hand underneath
Yeah,
and
just
just like
underneath. It's
rips
one
it
of those.
out.
See,
With and
it's
in this day and age, what's even better is that in this day and age, generally, if you like went underneath under most circumstances, that would have been
flag.
a penalty. But the
Yeah,
way he did it, I don't think even today that would have been a penalty because he goes
yeah.
like under and kind of like pops it out up, right?
It's like,
Yeah,
I mean, your cornerbacks are taught. Like, if you people talk about why Travis Kelsey, Devontae Adams are so good, it's because usually what happens is as a receiver's running, moment he's got his hands out, cornerbacks are told get your arm underneath both those hands,
yeah,
literally wiggle your arm so that they don't catch the ball.
right.
Devontae Adams just goes like this. He literally just pops like that right when the ball is coming into him. So like you talk about deadly receivers and tight ends, Charles Woodson could do that to even them. So
Yeah.
that way, man, full respect on that. Now I am going to move on. We have punters and kickers next. Now, Josh, I want to ask you the question. Do you want to go first or should I?
Let's flip the coin again, shall we?
Yes? Okay, all yours.
All right, here we go. Coin flipper. Coin flip. Here we go. Y'all are gonna see if it's a heads or tails. Heads or tails. Pick your poison.
I'm going to go tails.
You got to be kidding me.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I think that's a loss for me.
Really?
I think that's going to be a loss for me. But we'll see. I'm not going to I'm not going to say confirmed yet. But well, with my God. Okay, punter and kickers. Possibly, maybe the most important positions. You would not think
The
so,
most
but they
underrated
may,
positions for sure.
yeah, I mean, who knows? Like maybe the quarterback just needs to go out. Okay, never mind. Um, uh, with my special teams, so we have a return specialist. I
Oh,
mean,
come on. This no, no,
I
no.
mean, no, look.
Damn it.
Is there anybody I can choose really? I mean, like let's think about this. I mean, this
There's one
guy.
guy I can think of as a backup. I'm granted he's not even close to number one, but like
Look. If this guy plays receiver on my team, I'm losing every game. But if I put him on the punt return team, Tony Dungy's gonna cry himself to sleep. So with my return specialist, I don't think there's really a debate on this one. I'm going with my man Devin Hester.
I'm gonna cry myself to sleep now. Why? Why? He's one of
I
my
mean,
favorite
look,
players ever, man. You took away one of my favorite. You've done this like 3 times now. You've taken away Jerry Rice from me.
look.
You've taken away Marshall Falk from me. You've
Mhm.
taken away Larry Allen from me. And now you're
Mhm.
taking away Devin Hester. Come on, man.
I
What's
mean,
wrong with you?
This is all I have to say, man. I'm trying to build the best team ever. At this point, emotions, you know, you kind of have to sideline them out
Businessman,
just a
I get
bit,
it.
you
Hey,
know.
I get it. It's a
But
business.
look, man, this is a GM move right here, man. This is GM. Wish Tom
Absolutely.
Telesco did this. All right,
But this is
what's going on?
exactly how relationships deteriorate, man. This is
Yeah,
exactly how these GM relationships, these beefs, the SB Nation is watching as
that's
to
true.
see for a new beef history episode. This is where it starts.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Birthplace of I don't even know at this point. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you screwed me with Devin Hester so badly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna go with one of the most athletic. Uh, Damn, I can't even think straight.
Look,
I'm
look,
gonna
look,
actually, you know
look.
what?
Wait, wait.
I'm gonna go with the multi-talented kicker. The multi-talented, the man
Very,
who
very
can
good.
sing opera like he's Andre Bocelli, but at
I
the
did not
same
know
time,
this. I did not know
really,
that. I did not. I never knew he could do opera, but okay.
really,
I never knew
there's
he could do
NFL films on it. You have to see it, man.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he can sing like Andre Bocelli. His vocals travel the same distance, maybe even more than the amount of yards he can kick. Mr. Justin Tucker.
Okay. I'll take it. I mean, the man did bury a 60-yard field goal, so I'm not gonna argue
66
with
yard
it.
field goal, and he honestly could kick 70 yards. He
He,
has that
he
type of leg in him.
if he wanted to, he could. If he wanted to, he
Yeah.
legitimately could. So, well, with my next pick, uh, man, it's a special team, man. Because I really don't know how to grade kickers and punters. Like, I mean, there's obvious like bad punters, but like, there's no really great punters or kickers. Psych, there is Adam Vinatieri. I'm gonna take my man at the kicking position over there.
That's
I mean,
fine. I'm
I
fine
have
with
to.
that.
I have to. I mean, look, I am a Patriots fan at the end of the day. We're so horrible right now. I just need some moment of happiness. I'll take the man who brought us two Super Bowl wins off his field goal kicks. I'll take him. Like
I mean, the most clutch player of all time, in my opinion.
maybe,
Um,
maybe. I mean, Tom Brady, you got him on your team. He may be the most clutch, but
right, but Tom Brady wouldn't have won two rings had Adam Vinatieri not made three
right, but Adam
crucial
Vinatieri
field
would have
goals.
never got those field goals had Tom Brady not driven down to the
Yeah,
extent that he did. So
it's a
it
great
goes both
debate.
ways, man.
Yeah,
It's a team sport. It's a team sport in that regard.
absolutely. This is why we love football. It's more team oriented than any other sport in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, right. We're up next.
Next, I'm gonna stay on the term of multi-talented. I'm gonna go with a guy who is a Swiss Army knife at the punter position, a guy who's known as one of the greatest athletes at the punter position of all time,
Mm-hmm.
probably one of the first. Someone Bill Belichick has marveled and raved about. A guy Al Davis, fell in love with at
No,
first sight,
no,
cried
no,
his
no,
eyes out.
no,
I
no,
think you know who I'm talking
no,
about.
no.
None other than Mr. Ray Guy.
What's wrong with you, dude? Dude,
Why?
like, come on. Like, stop it. Oh, God. What am I gonna do now? I hate you, man. I really hate you.
I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, Ray Guy is gonna make sure that punt never goes to
That's
Devin
my
Hester.
that's my point. That's my point. That's why I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? Uh, oh my God, I don't like this. Oh,
Hey man,
what do I know?
I'm playing like Billy Bean in Moneyball, man. I can't get Jason Giambi, so I'm recreating him in the aggregate.
Well, good luck to whoever Jason Giambi is. Obviously, you guys don't have no clue who baseball is at this point. Jason Giambi. The only person I know is
Basically,
Shohei
okay, think
Ohtani.
of it as if the Bengals traded away Joe Burrow tomorrow and recreated him
Mm.
with three new quarterbacks.
I think that would be great for the NFL, man. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie. That would be
exactly.
great for the NFL. Okay, so you've picked up Ray Guy. My guy, by the way. My guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Apparently, he played Guy in the Croods too. I've heard.
yeah, I actually remember that. That's kind of weird, but the Oakland Raiders team was weird in general. So, uh, I have to really think now at this point. Hmm. For my punter position, I'm gonna go take a guy again from the Raiders that Al Davis liked a lot, just like Ray Guy. I'm hoping I'm being the right one of this one. Shane Lickler.
Shane Leckler. Very good punter.
I
For
think I'm gonna take him. If I'm not wrong, he made the all-time 100 team. If I'm not wrong, along with Ray Guy. So I'm gonna take him. Now, here is where I'm very interested to see where you go with your return specialist. Now, there's one guy in mind that I do have, but I'm not sure if you want to do it. You know what I just thought? I have Deion Sanders on my team. I have Devin Hester and Deion Sanders. I can
yeah,
switch them out on the
I
return
know.
specialist
I
anytime I
know. I
want.
realized that a while back.
Oh, let's go.
Well,
Let's
I'm gonna
go.
go with on a guy. You remember I went with Dutch Clark, who also had some return specialist potential. He's a more 1930s type esque player.
Yeah,
So if Bill
yeah.
Belichick, if you somehow get one of those old school coordinators or coaches that wants to pull out some 1920s or 1910s playbook, maybe even
Hmm.
like the old Rutgers playbook from 1870, I don't know, something like that. Well, all
Hmm.
right, that's fine. But I'm gonna go
You're
a little
talking like
bit new
Mad Dog
school.
Rousseau at this point, man. 1870s. Like, stop the whole thing, man.
Hey, I mean that was the
Also,
first
by the
game,
way,
right?
hey, Mad Dog Rousseau, if you're listening here, man. I mean, this is my sell to you right now. I think you should hire me at some point. Me and Yash. I think you should hire both of us and explain to you that 1870s got nothing to do with the game right now. Because I tell you, in the 1870s, they probably had the jersey like a T-shirt that I'm wearing right now.
They did not
Probably didn't
have
have a
lights in games. They did
maybe
not
didn't have
have
lights at
lights
games.
in games.
Maybe had two fans come up and say, "What is this?" They probably didn't even call the sport football at that point in time. So, like,
But let's
can
okay, but go ahead, go ahead.
this is the other thing I want to say, man. Mad Dog Rousseau, I respect the history that you know. It's kind of amazing the history that you know, and at the
It
same
really is.
time, it's kind of sad about the history you know. Because here's the problem: how is Rob Gronkowski the fifth best tight end of all time? Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Are we really gonna take a Colts 1960 tight end, John Mackey, who was by no means a very average tight end? He was a very good tight
He
end,
was a very
mind you.
solid
Probably,
tight end, but he could
but
not receive like Gronk could.
he couldn't block like Rob could. Even in that decade where they had that type of
Yeah.
like leverage in terms of rules, he could not catch like Rob could. He could not trash talk like Rob could. He couldn't spike like Rob could.
He
He
couldn't
couldn't
party like
move like
Rob could.
he couldn't move like Tony Gonzalez. He couldn't swing around the field, toss wherever the ball he wanted to go to, like Travis Kelsey.
He
Like,
couldn't
let's be
call
a
the
little
president
honest
like
here.
Shannon Sharp.
He couldn't. He couldn't. He like. Let's just be honest. Can we please stop the whole old stuff? I mean, I know you eat half a gummy and all that stuff, but like, let's just like stick to reality and go with. I mean, it's true. He went and he literally said, "Oh, I'm gonna eat half a gummy at one point. I'm gonna have my drink, and then I'm gonna eat another half a gummy. We'll watch Colorado beat the Oregon football team." He literally said it online.
No,
I
I
mean,
know. I
like,
saw that literally
let's
yesterday.
be
That was funny as hell.
let's be honest. Like, the guy is. I mean, look, hey Mad Dog, if you're listening, please don't get our show canceled. We worked really hard for this, I know, but please, man, don't get our show canceled. Okay, canceled. Well, I don't even know why I spoke like that at this point. So enjoy your half a gummy bear, but I just want to tell you this, from the bottom of my heart. I mean, you're a great guy, a lot of knowledge, but sometimes too much to the extent that you make yourself look foolish. So
There you go.
that's my little soliloquy. Stephen A. Smith, still love you, man. All right,
Preach.
you're up next on your
But
return
here's the thing. I'm
specialist.
gonna go a little bit new school with this. I'm gonna go with a guy who's on another. I'm gonna go off the versatility, the multi-talented people. You know what I'm saying? A guy who's pretty good offensively too. Um, very underrated actually, but probably at this point has earned himself a spot in the Hall of Fame. A guy who over the last 10 years has impressed me with his longevity at the position. None other than Mr. Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, you got me in the one. Yeah, yeah, that was.
I don't know if I'm spelling his name right. Mr. Cordell
Yeah, yeah, no,
Patterson. If I'm
Cordele,
mispronouncing your name right,
Cordele
I
Patterson.
apologize. A lot of R's
Look,
and L's in there.
you spent Cordarale Patterson.
Cordero.
You sound okay, Cordero, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
I spell mine as Cordell. Period. I forgot to put the e at the end. I just went Cordell on my paper. Okay. Well, that is our team in terms of players, and now comes the coaches. Now, since
This
I
is your
had
turn,
first pick with the
Akilesh.
special teams, am I going first?
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna go off the limb here, and I'm gonna do something that's not expected. I thought about this really long and hard. Looking at my team, I want to look at my team here. Jerry Rice can really run any route needed to be at that point. Calvin Johnson, he can run any route too, but he just cannot be guarded, especially on deep route, especially with those safeties who are just not that tall. If we're being honest from a physical standpoint, you got Jim Brown who can run the ball any day, anytime, anywhere. You got who any day, anytime, okay. You got Larry Allen, big monster, big beast, or like as I like to call him, big boss in the house. You got Marshawn Falk, run anywhere, cash anywhere, play anywhere. Jonathan Ogden, one of the biggest tackles in NFL history from just height.
Yeah.
You got Chuck Benardic, again, nasty monster. Marvin Harrison, I like to call him the silent assassin in this case. And then you got Rob Gronkowski, just a beast. With my first pick on this coaching staff, I'm going to take the man that made Joe Cool Montana, the perfect quarterback coach duo. I'm going to take with my offensive coordinator,
Bill
Mr.
Walsh.
Bill Walsh.
Okay.
The greatest offensive mind in the history of the NFL.
All right. So for me, as much as I like my team, as far as this, we have a few prima donna personalities on this team. We need someone who can lead by example. One of the greatest minds as far as speaking to his team, preaching, as far as getting impact, and probably someone who could touch anyone regardless of generation, whether it's a 1930s player like Dutch Clark or it's a new guy like Aaron Donald, relatively speaking, of course. I'm going to take none other than the greatest leader of men that I've ever
Very good.
seen in any sport, none other than
Exactly
Vince
expected
Lombardi.
this. Exactly expect this. And Vince Lombardi. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this. He won in 1932. He won 3 straight basketball championships as a high school basketball coach. And the way he coached, he read a book.
There you go.
That too, not on how to play basketball, on how to rebound and pass. That's it. And he coached 3 straight championships out of that. It's pretty incredible. Now, onto my side. Now, what I'm going to do here is the expected thing is for me is to go ahead and take a head coach at this point. But I'm not thinking in that angle yet. What I want to do is I want a guy who's going to be tough on my defense, who is not going to let him slide by or all that stuff. He's going to be tough. He's not going to like yell at you, but he's going to be methodically a genius. You look at your team, you have Tom Brady. One guy who knows Tom Brady better than anybody else. Who would it be? Oh, I remember. Bill Belichick as my defensive coordinator. Ho, ho, ho! I got 2 Bills on the same coaching staff. Who would have known?
Okay. That's fine.
You know what? At this point, though, man, I mean, you guys have to remember, even though Tom Brady did win a Super Bowl without him, we do have to remember this. He only got 19 points against my guy with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, and all those bunch of other guys. He did only get 19 points. I'm just putting it out there.
And he only
With
had
our
200
defense,
yards in a year where he had 5,200 yards total.
and he didn't win MVP somehow at that age. But I'm just saying, like, that's pretty good. Right, you're up next.
Okay, so you went with Bill Belichick, which was supposed to be my next pick, which it kind of bugs me out a little bit. I'm looking at my roster. I have 2 different things I'm thinking of. Number one, because you went Belichick, I feel the need to respond quickly. However, this is a guy I know you love, and I know you're gonna hate me for picking this guy because you love him so much. I'm looking at my roster, and probably the weakest.
I know who you're gonna say. I swear if you say it.
Is the cornerback position. So I need a defensive backs coach. And who's the greatest defensive backs coach, or the greatest coach who was a former defensive backs coach?
Dick LeBeau.
No, actually. I'm surprised you didn't know this.
Wait, really?
He was a head coach for a long time. Coached 20 straight winning seasons.
No, don't do that to me.
Tom Landry,
you stink. You stink. You so stink. Come on. Weak move on that. Weak move.
I will be back.
You know what, though? You know what? You messed up. You know why? Let me say it. You know why you messed up? How do you think Tom Landry's going to respond to Vince Lombardi on the same team? Ever thought about that? Ever thought
Come
about the
on, man.
rivalry that was ensued by both of them together? You guys on the same.
Competitive
No, no,
rivalry.
no, 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 no. Hey, you gotta understand one thing: competitiveness. But do you want a Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka type relationship where they spoiled it after 1 year and then that defense fell off the moment Buddy Ryan left? The offense couldn't do anything after that happened. Do you want that type of relationship on your team?
If I'm not
I'm not sure you do.
mistaken, Buddy Ryan punched one of his fellow offensive coordinator on his team when he was with the Houston Oilers. That team
Mhm.
still had the best record in spite of that
They
in
did.
a drama
They did.
laden year.
They did. Who won the Super Bowl that year?
I
Exactly.
forgot.
Exactly. Period. Done. 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 They lost the first round. I don't care how many times you punch a guy. I don't care if you punch the president. At that point, you didn't win. That's it. Period. Okay. Well, you know what? You know what? Defensive
Well, I'm
backs coach.
looking at skill. So I need a guy who can help my defensive backs win. And I have two real I mean, here's the thing. I have defensive backs in
Mhm.
Woodson and Darrell Green who are good, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't put them on the same level as
Sure, sure.
I'll
No, no.
honestly
You
say
know
this.
what?
I wouldn't put
I
them on the
respect
same
it.
level as Mel Blount and Deion
I'm just
Sanders.
surprised you didn't take him as your defensive coordinator. That's my personal opinion. But you know what? I respect it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here down and say like it was a bad move. I'm going to respect it. Um, So with my next pick, now see, I don't have a head coach yet, which can be a problem. But looking at my picks, what I do want is a guy who can coach my quarterback, and I want a guy who Bill Walsh believes in to coach his quarterbacks. I'm gonna wait
Sorry
for the
about that.
absence. Yes, no, no, no problem, no problem. I just want you here to witness this. Now, this is the guy I thought you were gonna say because I love this guy more than Tom Landry. Hey, fun fact by the way, me and Tom Landry were born on the same day.
Oh,
Quick
really?
fact.
Word.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the date because if I do, we're gonna get canceled. But you guys can search it up. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to say it because we're gonna get canceled. Um, Now with my quarterbacks coach, I want a guy who can coach Joe Montana the way Bill Walsh would love and respect to be coached by. I'm gonna go with a guy who was able to coach two teams to a Super Bowl appearance. I'm gonna go with a guy who literally called up the Minister of Defense and told him, "This is God." I'm gonna go with Mike Holmgren to coach Joe Montana and this
Did he
elite
really say that?
offense.
Did he really? I'm
Yeah,
not aware of that.
he called Reggie White, and Reggie White was getting a lot of calls from Bill Belichick, from the Cleveland Browns, and everybody. And Reggie White basically, I mean, he's one of the most religious ministers if you really think about it. And he basically, Mike Holmgren was like, "Look, this is God. He's telling you to go to Green Bay." And that's apparently, and Reggie White signed, and he went up to what do you call him? He went up to Mike Holmgren, and he said, "God called me, and I came." So like this literally happened. So kind of cool for Mike Holmgren to be reunited with one of the greatest ministers of all time. I'm gonna call them ministers. I'm just not gonna say Reggie White at this point. But I picked Mike Holmgren.
Okay. So you went around that range. I'm gonna go with someone who I need an offensive coordinator at this point. So I need someone who knows the game inside and out to kind of respond to Bill Belichick. Someone that
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is gonna fall at the knees of, both figuratively and literally, because he
Huh.
respects this guy unlike any other person on the planet because
Mhm.
of what he did for the coaching game. I'm gonna go with the guy who was Bill Walsh's mentor and then later screwed Bill Walsh over later on in his career. None other than Mr. Paul Brown.
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you, man. You know what, man? I am so grateful that you did that. Bill Walsh is going to be so hyped up. His team is going to be even more hyped up that that man screwed him over. Oh, I'm so happy. I am so happy. Thank you, Yash. Thank you, Yash, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Now, with my next pick, this guy coached for John Madden when he was a defensive coordinator at San Diego State, coached under Eric Coryell with the San Diego Chargers, coached probably the best receiving core during the 80s. I'm going to go with my receiving coach, Joe Gibbs.
Oh, damn. That was going to be my next pick.
I saw it coming. I had to take, you know, I had to do that to you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this guy, like, ooh, yes, sir. Oh, man.
So I'm
One
going
of
to
my,
capitalize off of what I have at the edge rusher D line position. I'm gonna go with a guy who's developed some of the greatest D linemen and just defensive, like people who rush the pass. Unlike anybody else, he's coached these guys. He has coached players such as Bruce Smith, Reggie White. He coached Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt. I think you know who
Um,
I'm talking about. Mr. Wade Phillips as my defensive line coach.
you know, okay. You know what? Okay. Mm, that was a good one. uh, Now I'm gonna have to really think of what to do. Mm. Now here's the thing. I've been going on the offense a lot because I want to build a good coaching staff on the offense, and I'm gonna stick with it. Psych, no, I can't. No, 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 I can't. I can't. I can't. No. If I do that, I'm screwed. I was gonna pick this guy, but then I just felt the relationship wouldn't be right between these two because they would probably break down the locker room as they did that. Now, what I want to do is I'm gonna go ahead and pick a guy who Bill Belichick had a great relationship with, a great respect for, with my linebacker coach. I'm gonna go ahead and select who I mentioned before on this podcast, and I hinted at him, Bill Cowher.
Okay. Yeah, I expected you to go for towards him at one point in this episode. That's fine. I'm actually also actually no. You put me in a very interesting position now.
Yeah, I did.
See, I'm not exactly sure as far as the schematic fit. However, I do feel like this one specific coach can make it work with any scheme. And he did come from the West Coast offense. So I think I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with the guy who I rave as one of the best quarterback coaches of all time and one
I
of the
don't like
guys
you.
who
I don't like
developed
you.
none other than Mr. Drew Brees himself.
I
I'm
don't
going to
like you.
go with
I don't
Sean
like you.
Payton.
I don't like
I'm,
you. I don't like you.
I'm going to go with Sean Payton. Look, it might be the worst time to really put him on a pedestal given the fact that his relationship with Russell Wilson's deteriorated, but he did fix Russell Wilson. Whether he made Russell Wilson back to his MVP self, probably not, right? But he did fix Russell Wilson. He revived
I
Drew
hate
Brees'
you.
career and made him into a Hall of Famer. And he has so much success with so many different quarterbacks. Um,
Mm,
Sean Payton is one of the greatest minds, offensive minds in the history of the game. And I think it's time people give him credit for that. Not to mention, he's a great leader to himself. He was a protege under Bill Parcells. So, I mean, for me, this is a perfect pick as far as being able to fit with the type of players I have on this offense.
mm, mm. Can you go to the my slide real quick, Josh?
Yeah. But yeah, yeah. So you wanted to, yeah, it's your pick,
Mhm.
Akilish.
This is a very, very tough position that I'm in right now because I know I can go many ways here. I understand that the experience that I can bring onto the staff will be immense. You know what? There's a bit of a theme here if we look at our team. I've got a lot of guys who are brilliant geniuses, and really, as the saying goes, those who are the smartest don't really talk a lot. They are not going to sit here and go on their little soliloquy about how they want to run their offense and talk like this whole big smack talk. Now, initially, I was thinking of keeping my head coach as a guy who's going to spark everybody up every single day that they're in this locker room. A guy who's going to make this team just like full of passion all the time, like Jimmy Johnson, you know? But then I thought to myself, I can't let a Cowboys coach be on this team. To run my squad? No, I can't do that to myself. That would be disrespectful of me as a general manager of my football team. So I thought to myself, I said, look, you want a guy who's going to brim with passion? but is also going to be a great leader? Or do you want a guy who's soft spoken, still is going to be grim, mean, nasty, not going to give you compliments almost any time of the day, but not going to shout at you like Vince Lombardi and still motivate you to get yourself literally levitating off the floor for an AFC championship game? I've confused you with this already, Josh, based on your eyebrows, but I'm going to go ahead and select with my head coach, Chuck Noll of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Remind me where you're putting him?
As a head coach.
Head coach. Okay, perfect. I see where you're going. Okay.
Yes. I mean, look, I need a guy who can be respected by both sides. I need a guy like that. So I'm going to go and take that.
Look, I'm gonna go down the running backs path. I've been committed to this for a while now. But I'm gonna go with a guy who can utilize all different types of running backs, whether they're physical, whether they're speedsters like Walter Payton, or dual or multi-use backs like Dutch Clark. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go with a guy
Sure.
who's had more success than any other coach in the 90s as far as running backs, and a guy whose
Wow.
bloodline has succeeded him as far as being able to do the same thing in the modern day NFL. I'm gonna
Very
go with
nice.
Mr.
Very
Mike
nice.
Shanahan.
Very good pick, man. Very good pick. Now, obviously, I'm going to go here and say this. We are picking head coaches at this point to coach our back positions and things like that, you know? And I was just thinking to myself at this point, look, I mean, this is great. It's great. But I want a guy who can really devote to the position itself. Like at this point, I'm thinking of myself like all these guys were head coaches at some point. Looking at your team, a lot of egoistic people, if I'm not wrong. Vince Lombardi, Tom Landry, ego to ego clash. Paul Brown, I mean, you know he has a lot of ego to himself. Sean Payton, again, a guy who's just not gonna afraid is not afraid of speaking his mouth. Mike Shanahan is probably the most reasonable guy on your team. So I want a
He
guy who's
had beef with
devoted.
certain owners.
Yeah, but I
Al
mean,
Davis.
he's not gonna go at, but he is the most reasonable out of all of
Yeah,
yours.
for
That's all I'm
sure.
gonna say. I'm gonna go with the guy that has devoted himself to this position since the 1990s, has coached an MVP level player, and he's also coached under Mike Holmgren, a guy who has probably the best beard I've ever seen in the NFL. I'm gonna go with Stump Mitchell as my running backs coach.
I
In
had a
case you
feeling
guys
you were
don't
going to
know
go
who,
down that for some reason. I don't know why. I was thinking about him actually earlier, but I wanted
see
to go
that,
with a guy who can fit my type of players and someone who
yeah.
fell down that West Coast path.
I
Oh
mean,
shoot.
if you look at Stump Mitchell, Stump Mitchell, he is coached under Mike Holmgren. He coached Sean Alexander to an MVP level season. Every single place that he's gone in as a head coach, running backs have had over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Imagine he's coached for 20 plus years. He's been able to do the same exact thing. Currently, now he's a running backs coach of the Cleveland Browns, who without Nick Chubb, right, as a running back, they are a running football team, which is crazy. I mean, I know Joe Flacco's throwing for like 350 plus yards and stuff, but like it's still out of this world. So I'm gonna go there with Stump Mitchell. He's gonna stump probably a lot of people with that pick, but play on words. But Stump Mitchell. You got you dude, it's not bad. I know it's not my best one, but it's not bad. Like don't give me that face. Come on.
No, no, I'm not mad at it. I actually like the pick. It's a very sneaky pick, and I like it. I'm just trying to think about my next pick. Um, as you can see, I'm kind of like distracted by my phone. I'm kind of doing a little more research.
Yeah, yeah, background
Think,
research. Uh-huh.
yeah,
I see it.
plotting out a few scenarios in my head. Um, Pause, but
Whoops, we're
I'm
gonna
gonna
stop the
move
recording,
Tom
guys. Hey,
Landry. I'm gonna
stop,
take
stop, stop. Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna take some of your advice and move Tom Landry as to my defensive coordinator, because
Very
I'm gonna go
nice.
and get another guy who has had success with defensive backs. I think you know who I'm talking about. The guy who's the winningest head coach in the history of the
Aw,
game.
you
None other
stole
than
my
Don Shula.
pick. No, stole my pick. Don Shula. Oh, come on, Yash.
Hey, you stole Devin Hester from me earlier.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said this
This
is
is
a
probably not
business
as bad. This is probably not as bad. This is probably not even close to as bad as that one. Because guy, I'm gonna pull out. You're gonna be mad. You can get him. Because guess what? This man's coached Rod Woodson. Man's coached any great defensive back. Probably been one of the most successful defensive coordinators of all time, and probably had the greatest success with safety blitzes, which is exactly what we have with Brian Dawkins. I'm gonna go with Dick LeBeau as
Okay.
my defensive backs coach.
Yeah, you tipped your hand as far as Dick LeBeau earlier when you thought I was going
Yeah,
to take him. I'm
I'm. I
not
mean,
taking Dick LeBeau for the reason being that he wasn't. I want guys who are leaders at their position, and as much as I think Dick LeBeau was a good leader, he's not the same leader
man's
that
a
I think
Hall of
should be
Famer
the guy.
playing defensive back. You don't think that's gonna be a leader?
No, he's going to be a leader, not the same way as, but not the same way as a Bill Cowher, not the same way as a Chuck Noll, not the same way as a Don Shula, Tom Landry, Sean
Because
Payton.
he just never got a chance at being a head coach. Because here's
Eh,
the thing, I want guys who are devoted to my position. I don't want guys who are going to be egoistic, wanting other positions.
This for everyone who's watching. I mean, this is kind of like the difference in kind of opinions as we're talking about between me and Akhilesh as far as what we prioritize in our coaches and our players, as far as how we build our teams.
Hmm.
Obviously, we picked differently when we did our draft last time in Ben Bennick's class, as
No,
Akhilesh
you know
noted
what? You
to.
know what, guys? I'm gonna, dude. Okay, I'm gonna say exactly what happened in Ben Bennick's class. So with the first pick, he chose Jerry Rice, and he thought it was a mistake because he was like, "Oh, I didn't know the rules." Oof, oof, oof," right? And then I went to, and then I'm not even joking. My exact roster was this: Tom Brady, Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Travis Kelce. I think I took Rob also on my team, Randy Moss, and then Terrell Owens. This was literally
No,
my
no, no.
roster.
You didn't have you did not have. Yeah, you had Randy
I
Moss.
had Randy.
Yeah.
That was my roster. He had Joe Montana, Jerry. Like I tried arguing with him so hard. But here's the thing, man. Ben Bennick, if you're watching this, I like you a lot, but you really blew at me on this one. We were having this whole conversation, right? And then he had the whole Jim Brown thing. I'm like, you really want to play his 1960s system? And I said a bit passionately, Mr. Ben Bennick doesn't even look at me. Just looks at it. It's like, yeah, Yash, why do you want to do some imaginary thing in an imaginary game that's never gonna exist? I'm like, man, ouch, man. Like that stung me so hard because that was so good. You know, sometimes when a roast is so good, you just don't want to laugh. Like,
Mr. Ben
man,
Bennick has roasted me so many times. My English teacher has, oh my God, our English teacher has roasted me so many times. It's not even
ridiculous.
funny anymore. Like
Yeah, at this point,
I have
at this
third
point,
degree burns based on how many times he's roasted me.
well, based on this team, you're gonna have 5 degree burns. Oh, okay, never mind. Go ahead.
That would
You
mean
knew that was
I'm
good.
red all over, but I'm already red all over, as you can see, because I'm rooting for the 49ers. So that can't be the case.
Who should you who well and no should have not got it today, but right, let's go on.
Okay. Um, So you picked Dick LeBeau, correct? So I'm gonna go as far as my receiving coach. I'm gonna go for a guy who put out one of the most exciting teams of all time, a guy that actually coached one of your players, a guy who put out one of my favorite offenses of all time and probably the greatest offense of all time, none other than Mr. Mike Martz, and I'm taking as my receiving coach. This man has coached some really, really good receivers to some really good seasons. We're talking about Brandon Marshall having like a streak of I think it was 3 or 4 thousand yard seasons under Mike Martz. It's or no 2 straight 1,000, but those were his best seasons in 2010 and 2011.
Very
Um,
good, very good.
and then you're talking about from 1995 to 2005, Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce were just they were the best receivers on the planet, or up there at least. I mean, he's a great offensive mind. I'm still I mean, I'm going off a lot of egos on this team.
Yeah,
Mike
you
Martz is
are.
another
I
one of those
have no
people who.
idea how your team is going to cooperate with each other at this point,
Oh,
but
I know.
I
Look, I don't
respect it.
care. I want guys who are the best at their position. It doesn't matter if they're egos. I could have a head coach like Vince Lombardi who can tell all these guys to at
He
one
won't.
point shut the
No,
hell
no, no,
up.
no, no, no. You know what? He would not be able to, because he could not tell Tom Landry to shut it. He would not be able to. I'm guaranteeing you, he could never tell Tom Landry straight, face to face, I will beat you up. if you don't will comply to me right now. He would not. I
Hey, you know
guarantee.
what? That's fine because I have this insane team that drives more competition. This is the NFL, a
Trust me.
testosterone built
Trust me.
game where
Trust me.
men hit
Trust
men
me.
with
Trust me. Really?
testosterone raging.
Men hit
This
men?
is what
Men hit
football is all
men.
about.
Men hit men. Okay, okay. So with my next pick, I'm going to, no, no, no. I'm gonna do something here that I've been talking about. I've been saying ego, 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 ego. Now here's the thing. I am shocked beyond belief. I'm serious now. I'm shocked beyond belief that you haven't even taken a time to consider this man. Not even taking the time to consider this man. This man cussed out more than anybody in the history of the NFL as a head coach. He took the Dallas Cowboys, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Giants, and so many other organizations to glory that they never seen before. Bill Belichick's head coach. I'm gonna take Bill Parcells. I got three Bills on the same coaching staff, three Bill head coaches on the same coaching staff. Oh my God. The only problem this is gonna have is texting, man, because everybody's gonna be Bill, 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 Bill. Might send it to the wrong guy, might get a wrong message out of it. That's about
He's
it.
your D line coach, correct?
Nope. Actually, you know
Who-
what? Yeah, he's gonna. I'm gonna pull Bill Cowher as my D line coach, and I'm gonna pick Bill Parcells. Wait, I got four Bills on the same coaching staff. Oh, no, no, no. You know what? Four Bills is gonna make $1 billion out of this one. Oh, ho, ho, ho,
You said I
ho.
didn't consider him. I did consider him. He was actually try. I was thinking of my next pick. Shoot,
Yes.
see. Here's the
You
thing. I
had
want.
Lawrence Taylor. You had the perfect accompaniment of Lawrence Taylor, and you threw him out until this last round.
Okay, because I was uncomfortable with the idea that Bill Parcells would coach my defense, and I just didn't think
Dude,
it would fit with Tom Landry and Don Shula.
you realize you had Vince Lombardi 2.0 handed to you, handed to you, and you threw him out the window.
That one's gonna bite me. I know that for sure.
Man,
Um,
you're like Dante Alighieri, just going through each cycle of hell one by one by one.
yeah, we don't talk about that book.
Me too, personally, man. Worst book I've ever read in my life. That book made
Really,
zero
I
sense.
like the
No,
book. It's just I didn't
no,
understand
come on,
some of the characters.
horrible, dude. I swear, I my eyes drooped. It was like literally watching. It was like watching a New England Patriots right now. Like just boring, boring. No, at this point there was no agony about it. Like with the Chargers, there's agony. At this point, it was just boring, man. Like Dante, Virgil, ooh la la. Like the characters too. Like went over my head. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I'm a little conflicted with my next pick. I want to go for someone. See, here's the thing. With my offensive line, I'm fine. I really feel like I don't necessarily need the greatest offensive line head coach, but I've
Hmm?
and even with the linebacker too. I mean, I have Ray Lewis. Right? He's the greatest linebacker of all time, but I want to prioritize a good linebackers coach, and I'm coming down to one of two guys.
Mm,
I'm thinking, hold up. I want to make sure that I want to just double check kind of like his repertoire
okay.
before I make this move. But
Can I
yeah,
suggest something to you?
yes, go ahead.
Look, I'm just gonna say this, okay? You look at who you have, right? I think the guy you could really utilize on this defense is again, you are going on this ego track, so that's the only reason why I'm suggesting this. I'm telling you, no other head coach linebacker has been or defensive coordinator linebacker has ever been better than Buddy Ryan and Mike Singletary. If you
Yeah,
take Buddy Ryan,
I was thinking Buddy Ryan, actually. I
mm,
was. Um, I actually didn't want to go down the ego track for this one. And
mm,
I did a little research on Buddy Ryan. His as great of a mind as he was, I don't think his
leadership,
reputation as far as developing certain linebackers was as good as people say it was. Um, for
okay.
me, for that reason, I'm going with one of Vic Fangio or Monty Kiffin. Um, I'm gonna actually go with Vic Fangio for the
You,
reason being
you know
this
what?
man,
Respect,
yeah, for the reason
respect.
being that this man has coached in the last 2 decades. He's coached players including the likes of Ray Lewis. He's coached Patrick Wilson, Navarro Bowman.
He
He
has. He
coached
has.
Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan to his best season. He made
Very,
Alex
very good.
Singleton for a minute one of the best linebackers in the game. He had Josie Jewell playing like one of the best linebackers in the game for a while.
Mm-hmm.
When he, as a defensive consultant for the Eagles last year, Kaiser White and what's his name, TJ Edwards were playing like two of the top 10 linebackers in the game. Now the
Yep.
Miami Dolphins, they've had some really good success with their linebackers as of late. So I think Vic Fangio is going to be my pick as far as linebackers coach. He has
I
a bit
think.
of an ego too, but I wouldn't say the same type of ego as Buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
But I think
I think
his
it's Vic Fangio, not Fangio, if I'm not wrong.
no, it's Vic Fangio.
Fangio? Really? Okay, I've been spelling it wrong my entire life. My bad.
Yeah, but
My bad, Vic.
yeah, he is. But yes, his reputation in the modern game as far as developing linebackers
He's
is
a
second to
revered
none.
defensive coordinator. I think yeah, I am. If I was on your team right now as a player, which I don't think I ever could be, I would respect the position. I would respect the Vic Fangio pull out there. Now, one last pick for me with the offensive line coach. Now, if you don't mind, Yash, if you could go to my coaching staff real quick. I do want to make a change here.
No. Oh, okay.
I'm going to go ahead and replace Joe Gibbs and Mike Holmgren. I'm going to switch them out. Because I want to remind people of one thing, man. Joe Gibbs is the only head coach in NFL history to ever win 3 championships with 3 different quarterbacks. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? One simple thing. He knows quarterbacks better than anybody else in the history of the NFL. I mean, it's clear and simple. Now, people may not recognize Mike Holmgren as a receiving guy, but you think about it. You think about it. With the receivers that he's worked with, he's worked with Jerry Rice before. He's worked with Shannon Sharp's brother. I'm gonna put him as that because here's the thing, man. That man could ball. That man could ball. I said ball. My bad. That man could ball. Like he was seriously a threat with Brett Favre and all those other boys. So I think Mike Holmgren at the receiving coach. Here's the other thing. Mike Holmgren at this point, he could coach any position. He would be great from an offensive standpoint. That's my personal opinion on it. So I'm going there. Now with my offensive line coach, this is what I was thinking, man. See, I could go a couple of ways here. See, I could take who I revere as the greatest offensive line coach of all time, Howard Mudd, who has coached player after player after player, the likes of Jason Kelsey with San Francisco 49ers. I mean, he's coached for decades, so he knows his game like anybody else. Rest in peace again to a legend. The other thing that I was thinking though was you have Jonathan Ogden, Larry Allen, Chuck Bednarik. With these guys, Larry Allen, first of all, ego. Number one. Chuck Bednarik, he's going to have an ego. Jonathan Ogden, maybe not as much, but on the field, he will have an ego. So my position is kind of like, you got to shut down the ego with the non-egoistic guy. But in this case, I'm thinking, no, put ego with ego. Put a guy who's going to have so much ego, he's going to shut all of their mouth like that and make it respect him. I'm going to go with a guy that your head coach called the greatest offensive lineman in the history of the National Football League. I'm going to go with the guy who coached the Cincinnati Bengals under Paul Brown to a Super Bowl and lost against Bill Walsh. Reunited now with the person he lost against. I'm going to go Forrest Gregg as my offensive line coach.
That's a very, very, very good pick.
Now, the thing is, I just could not give him to you. Because the thing is, Forrest Gregg has actually caused a lot of great offensive linemen. I just couldn't give that to Bill Walsh. At this point, that team is so egoistic, I just could not give up one more guy. I could not.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good pick. I wasn't thinking down that path, but it's definitely a good pick as far as he has the experience of being one of the great, in my opinion, he's the greatest right tackle of all time. And that's hard to say given Jonathan Ogden and him are interchangeable that way and they play different styles of game. So it's really hard to compare them to. But he also has that ability. He has one of the greatest minds I've ever seen from an offensive line. He knew exactly where to put his body.
I mean, you think about it, an offensive line linemen coached a team to a Super Bowl. Like we have to consider the fact how much of a genius you have to be to do that. So in that regard, I'm gonna take Forrest Gregg as my offensive line coach.
Okay. So where I'm gonna go down the line as I'm gonna go down someone who is who was um, one of the most innovative offensive
Oh.
line coaches of all time. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
you might know who I'm talking about, but he's a guy who coached several offensive lines from the 60s to the 90s, um,
Mhm.
including the Washington Commanders at the time. He coached alongside Don Coryell.
Oh
He
shoot.
coached the
Shoot.
Rams in '99. He was responsible
Oh,
for
come
Khalil Case's
on.
development. Um, he's done so much
You know
for
what?
so
No.
many different
No,
teams.
no. I don't care. I don't care at this point. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. The
I'm gonna go
Hogs.
with Jim Hanifin.
Okay. The Hogs.
Yeah, the man who coached
Who
the
are
Hogs.
them? Who are them? Who are them? Hogs. That was such a good. That's a good.
I have to
Washington.
hear, mind you, I have to hear that every day because my dad loves the Washington Commanders, even though, I mean, that used to be his favorite team until Dan Snyder pissed him off, but
Yeah.
he still has a
Yeah.
soft
I
spot
mean.
for him in his heart.
Okay. Now with this, we are completing our all-time draft.
Yeah.
And look, I'm gonna allow you guys to say in the comments who was better, but at this point, I'm just looking at my team. Okay, I'm actually gonna look at Yasha's team now. You have, or I'll look at my team now. It's fine. You have Joe Montana. I'm just gonna explain to you how my system would work, right? You have Bill Walsh, probably the greatest offensive mind of all time. People don't recognize this. Bill Walsh was gonna hit you in the mouth with his offense any day, anytime, anywhere. I'm gonna say it again and again, man. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Because the thing is this. Look at Rob Gronkowski, physical, Marshall Falk. He can run, he can pass out to the swing on the outside. You mentioned Bill Belichick's defense being employed in such a way that they attacked Marshall Falk, right? You know why they lost? Because he didn't have any space to move out. You know why? Because he didn't have a back who could protect him from guys like Willie McGinnis. Now you have probably the strongest running back in NFL history in Jim Brown. I can run the ball with Jim Brown if need be. I can
Not
pass the ball
strongest,
to Marshall.
but he's definitely top three.
Oh, come on, no, no, no.
Earl Campbell.
No, I would take Jim Brown over Earl Campbell
Really?
any
I would
day,
take Earl Campbell, but okay.
any day. You look. No, the only reason why we say that is because half his jersey got ripped off.
No, no,
Look
no,
at the
no.
highlights.
If you've seen some of his measurements as far as being able to lift, as
No,
far
no,
as his
no,
strength, I would
no.
take Earl Campbell.
That can, but yeah, well, obviously we're gonna say that because there were no weight concept during Jim Brown's era. There was no weight concept at all. Look at his 40-yard time. Look at the strength that he had. In his rookie season, he won MVP.
I would say this about Jim Brown. I think his toughness, I think he had top three strength, and that combined with his toughness made him seem stronger on the field as far as his game strength goes. I
Okay.
think Earl Campbell, pure strength wise, I think he's stronger. That's where I stand.
Okay, maybe, but overall, as a running back, this guy's.
Yeah.
Honestly, I know some people are going to say Barry Sanders is the greatest running back of all time. I personally disagree. I think it is Jim Brown as the greatest running back of all time. You look at what he did in 7 years from a pure athletic standpoint. Athletic standpoint, you cannot. No other running back in the history of the NFL has come close to what Jim Brown could have done and could do at that point. So he could run the ball. You have Stump Mitchell who could coach both those guys to even better levels, probably.
Yeah.
Now you have Joe Montana, Bill Walsh. Need I say more? Then you have Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. Calvin Johnson can throw a deep ball, can run inside routes, can run over routes. Probably the smartest receiver in NFL history, if you really think about it. And then you have Rob Gronkowski, I already mentioned, toughest, maybe one of the stronger tight ends in NFL history. He could run any route you need to. And then you have the offensive line, obviously coached by Forrest Gregg. And then you have head coach Chuck Noll. Here's the thing, man. You know why I went with Chuck Noll? He is going to be a facilitator.
That's true. That is
He
very true.
he need not call anything because he has two of the greatest minds calling it for him. But he can control these players. He can have a grasp on these players. He can be exactly what this team needs to be to level it out. He's not gonna give you compliments. He's not gonna like give you inspiring speeches to be like, "Hey, let's go out there and win the game, guys." Like, no. He's not going to be your Pirates of the Caribbean type monster. No,
He's
he
gonna
is
be
going to
real
give
with
it
you.
to you straight. Exactly. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I am going to be as straight as I can. He has Bill Walsh and Bill Belichick. He has the great coaching staff. He just wants to facilitate this team. It is his. He will take responsibility for it. And one thing, if I can add, he's never lost a Super Bowl. He's never lost a Super Bowl. He's never lost a championship game, which Vince Lombardi has.
That is
Vince
true.
Lombardi has lost a championship game, first ever. But that's just my offense. Look at my defense. First of all, if you get in case you guys didn't know, the first person that Bill Belichick actually called to trade for, yes,
Uh, let's see. He started his career in the 70s around, right?
as a head coach. My
Oh,
bad.
as a heck. Oh, okay. I would assume Reggie White then.
Yeah, the first person he ever called to trade for was Reggie White, and surprisingly, he almost went until God called him. You know, for the Green Bay Packers. But now he's got him. And he also has probably the most important middle line, maybe the smart, and actually not maybe. He is the smartest, in my personal opinion, middle linebacker in the history of the game. Not the most passionate, but the smartest middle linebacker in the history of the game. He also has Brian Dawkins, who's very similar to Rodney Harrison in the strong safety position way that he can play. He can also play free safety if need be. He can give passion, which Bill Belichick admires a lot. And he's also coached by Dick LeBeau, who is probably the greatest defensive backs mind ever, ever.
Yeah.
You look at Rod Woodson, Deion Sanders, Mel Blount. These guys, like again, coached by Dick LeBeau again, incredible skills, ball skills, and they would fit even more perfect into a system that Bill Belichick will create. Because guess what? It's never stays constant. He's gonna confuse defenses all day, every day. The other thing that I feel is I'm looking at your coaching staff. Vince Lombardi, Paul Brown, correct?
Vince Lombardi, Paul Brown, correct. Yeah.
Very traditional.
Yes.
Very traditional. They're not. I mean, you look at the quarterback in Tom Brady. I'm very perplexed that you've chosen Tom Brady. Because if I looked at Paul Brown's career, look at Otto Graham, you look at the players he had in Cincinnati, you look at Bart Starr, who Vince Lombardi had. Tom Brady is not close to how mobile those quarterbacks were. Those quarterbacks thrived in running out of the pocket just enough, throw a nice little deep ball over on the seam or post routes. That's the type of quarterbacks they were. Now, so I'm just
That's why I
confused on
bought.
how that
That's
works.
why I got a guy like Sean Payton though. Sean Payton can work with both
Right?
types of
No,
quarterbacks.
but here's the thing: he can't improve a guy who runs with 5 carries like he's a slot. Like his shoulders moving more than the ball moves in his arm. Like, let's be honest, he can't coach a quarterback to run that much or have increased mobility somehow.
Well, he
Like,
never needed to do that with Drew Brees, and Drew Brees still ended up being one of the best passers
right,
in the history of the
right.
game.
When Sean Payton was a head coach and he had him under his system, not under Vince Lombardi's system. Vince
Correct.
Lombardi never ran a West Coast system. Paul Brown never ran a West Coast system. Let's get that right.
Yes,
He
but
never ran
Paul
a West
Brown
Coast
was the
system.
one who invaded. This is the thing that I feel people miss about Paul Brown. Paul Brown was able to. He was very versatile with his scheme. If you see Autogram's film, there was not Autogram at the time. Yeah, there were a lot of like kind of move around a little bit, stop and throw the ball. But there was a lot of times where Autogram just kind of dropped back. And this is where Paul Brown was one of the more innovative offense coordinators of all time. He was one of the first people that really tried out the shotgun formation. And that's something that Brady's dominant at. That, in addition to the fact that you add that Autogram, he was ahead of his time as far as his deep ball ability. He was
Sure.
one of those players that, I mean, you look at some of his advanced numbers, he had 9 adjusted yards per attempt. I mean, those are
Yeah.
numbers that you usually have on average of a quarterback today. And
Now,
the
no, no,
guy,
no, no, no. Here's the thing that I'll argue though. See, you're mentioning all this stuff, but again, it's this thing. Otto Graham was better outside of the pocket than he was inside the pocket.
okay.
You look at the way he's played. That's just Paul Brown. You look at the quarterbacks Paul Brown has coached. They are extremely good. Coming off, throwing a side ball. Like if you had Brock Purdy
Yeah.
here, he would probably be in a better position than Tom Brady is under your coaching staff.
I don't know
Nothing
though,
against
because
them. It's
here's
just
my
the
thing.
system that he's in.
Brady as much as he can, as much as he's very immobile, he's shown his ability to be able to move around. He has to set his feet,
Inside
unlike
the
everyone.
pocket. Inside the pocket. If there's pressure on the outside, yeah, he can move beautifully inside, look at who he needs to go and throw it. He's not a Joe Montana who can go inside need be or go outside need be. He's not that type of mobile quarterback, right?
Right.
That's just Tom Brady under that system. Now here's the other thing. One way you will definitely cause a career damage for most teams is because you have Vince Lombardi's sweep. You look at your offensive line. I think you diagrammed this out perfectly because you do have Jerry Kramer, who is the pulling guard of that whole lineup, for you at the offensive line. So you did pull that off smartly. Now with Anthony Munoz, he's not really a mobile type like runner to the outside, type guy of tackle, but you don't really need that in Bill Walsh's offense. So I'll give it to you. You have Jim Otto who can really hold it down.
Yeah.
You have Walter Payton and Franco Harris. Franco Harris, I'm not saying I'm not gonna be like, oh no, who cares? No, I'm gonna like watch him,
Yeah.
but I'm not concerned about him as much as I am Walter Payton, because that man,
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen. But here's the thing, though, I have Kevin Green, Reggie White, Ray Lewis, Ronnie Lott, Brian Dawkins to stop him.
Okay.
That's a hit stick, hit squad, whatever you want to call it, hit something. Like that could knock out Walter Payton. That could maybe possibly knock out.
That's the thing about my scheme as far as guys like Sean Payton, Mike Martz, and Mike Shanahan. They're specifically designed to be able to. Their plays were designed specifically to get guys open. And as much as I like the hard hitting style that you have with guys like Ronnie Lott, Brian Dawkins, they weren't exactly, other than Deion Sanders and Mel
Mm,
Blunt. I wouldn't necessarily say any of your guys are the, in relative terms, obviously, the
mm.
best as far as coverage goes, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
So like
Okay. Let me mention one
Was
thing. Let
good
me
at
mention
getting
something.
to a spot and being able to stop someone. He wasn't necessarily, I
Okay.
wouldn't say like, I wouldn't put him, if you put him up against Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu,
Mm,
in relative terms, I wouldn't sit here and say that he
hmm
could, play one-on-one in the same way that in the same way that Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu could.
Troy Polamalu
Mind
never
you,
played
Ronnie
one on
Lott
one.
was also
Troy
one of the more
Polamalu never played
slower
one on
players.
one.
And I
No, no,
have
no,
Terrell Owens and Randy Moss.
no, no, no. Troy Polamalu never played one on one. He never played one on one, and every time he played one on one, he got destroyed. Look at the
I disagree
2004.
with you on that.
Wait,
There are
wait, 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 wait. No, 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 no. Look at the 2004 AFC Championship. You know how the trick play worked? Cover one, Paul Malo
yeah.
up top, came down on the bottom looking for an inside seam, went over for the post route.
Okay.
You know how many times Paul Malo got beat off that? I watched the film. I watched the
It
film
was
from
something,
his
yeah, it was something around like 10 times, I remember.
yeah, which is a record, which is
Yeah.
really a record actually for a safety. I agree with Ed Reed 100%. Ed Reed is easily the most versatile safety of all time.
Here's my argument. Here's my counter to this. 2005 AFC divisional round versus the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
There were several instances where Reggie Wayne would basically go on a post route. There were instances where
Mhm.
Marvin Harrison would go on the back corner,
Yeah.
and Polamalu guarded
Exactly.
him
Because
perfectly.
no. Because that's because it's just this. When it's this and then this, Polomo doesn't know what to do. I've seen it many times. When it comes to a Georgia route where a
Right,
guy is going to come inside and then another post route on this, with the cover one scheme that the Steelers always play, doesn't work out.
right.
Here's the thing. Other thing I will also again say for Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott played cornerback and then only moved to safety. If need be, I can pull him down and put Rod Woodson up there. I can do it.
That's definitely true. And this is where I
Right?
will sit here and say that you have the advantage. The fact that it matters, Jerry Rice and Calvin Johnson are two of the best route runners in football.
Mm-hmm.
So where you have an advantage is the fact that a guy like Polamalu, like you alluded to, he does have that immobility as far as certain routes go. If you
Mm-hmm.
put Polamalu on an island against a guy like Rice or Johnson or even Marshall Falk, at that matter, he's
How about
probably going to
Gronk?
get screwed if they
How
run
about
the
Gronk?
right route.
How about
You have a
Gronk?
guy like Bill Walsh who's probably going to prioritize that. A guy in
Exactly.
Mike
How
Holmgren
about Gronk
who's
though?
probably going to prioritize that.
How
But
about
this is
Gronk?
right. But this is where this is where I feel like I have the advantage. All right. One, I think my players, as far as leadership goes, I think I have players who are, as far as their leadership qualities, you can't go wrong with Tom Brady. You can't go wrong with a guy
Okay,
like
okay.
what's it called, Jim Otto. You can't go wrong with a guy like Aaron Donald or Ray Lewis. These are guys who are some of the most like the three things I was looking for in my team were intricate, innovating, inspiring. And these are players who had all three in the place. And then you have guys like Randy Moss, Terrell Owens. Yeah, those guys are probably going to check out every
I'm
now
just
and
not
then.
sure how that's an
That's where you have
advantage,
Vince
though.
Lombardi.
I'm just not sure how that's an advantage, though. Because if you go look at my roster, right? Here's the thing that I have on my roster. I have leadership, right? But leadership is not just talking, it's showing. If Ronnie Lott says, I want you guys to beat that team so hard, you're ready to throw a pinky off, he will break a pinky off if need be. You have the Minister of Defense on your team. You have the king of your defense. You have the governor of your defense. You have a kingdom of your defense on this point. You have Rod Woodson. You realize how the 2000 Ravens became a thing? Rod Woodson. Rod Woodson came in and told Ray Lewis, "You got 150 tackles, get 200 tackles." You know who? You know who can do that? A leader. You got Deion Sanders, a guy who's prepared to buy a Gucci watch for his entire special teams team every single time he gets a touchdown. He literally said in a press conference, "I'm gonna buy the entire team Gucci watch, a Rolex watch, or a whole lot of money. Entire special teams team. If I get it, he can. If he got that type of money, he can do that. You got Mel Blunt, who Mean Joe Green has himself said, if there's any player that I would ever fear if I was on an opposing team, it would be Mel Blunt. Fear, fear. Here's the other thing. If Mel Blunt stands on the sideline, I remember this too. Rod Woodson. So he said when he got his first pick six, he came down to the sideline. Mel Blunt went like, "We don't do that here. You got me? We don't do that here."
So if you
That's all he
want to
said.
talk about
That's all he
fear,
said.
though.
No, not fear,
Okay.
not fear.
Okay.
See, here's the thing.
Sure.
With fear comes leadership.
Okay, well, no,
When
no,
you
but
get,
if you want to talk about fear, this is my argument back to you.
Mm,
I have Anthony Munoz, okay?
okay,
Anthony Munoz was someone who took the all-time sacks leader, okay, in Bruce Smith, and put so much fear in him that Bruce Smith on record came out and said that this was one guy I hated playing against. That
okay.
too, I
So,
also have the
so,
guy who
so,
on many
so,
occasions killed Joe Montana in Lawrence Taylor. And I
yeah,
have,
you do,
yes, all right.
you do.
And I have, where did it go? Ray Lewis,
Mm,
who has destroyed many players in his career, knocked out
yeah,
many players.
yeah,
Tom Brady
yeah.
himself has come out and said there were times where he just didn't throw to him just
Mm-hmm.
because he was
Yeah,
afraid that one of his players was going to get it.
yeah. How many of those guys lost a pinky ready to fight that hard
I know
enough?
you're going to bring that up.
No,
I
no,
know.
no, no, no. And here's the other thing. So now you mentioned Bruce Smith, right? See, Bruce Smith is like, if we're thinking about the kingdom sense, because, I have to go that route, right? You think about Bruce Smith. Here's the thing. Bruce Smith is more of like one of the commander-in-chiefs. Anthony Munoz may shut down a commander-in-chief, but can he shut down a minister? I don't think so. I don't think so. If I remember this, Joe Theismann went up to the line and he called a play. Red right 77. Was literally red right 77. Looked at Mike Singletary and he fumbled the ball. Joe Theismann, by the way, who knocked out two teeth. So with that, I'm just gonna end this here. Okay, I'm gonna say personally, man, if we put this on a Madden team right now, my team would beat you 27-20. 27-24, maybe.
You bet
Okay.
not. You bet not.
Okay. No. It will be a close game, but with the coaching staff that I have, with the players that I have, with the physicality that I have, we're beating